it.
You're listening to the NWA, the Nubian Wrestling Advocates.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Yo, it's Righteous Reg. It's a case for the safe, keep a space for the Nubians. Unfiltered, off-kilter, the professor, the godfather, host wrestling the NWA, not keep guessing, The views and expressions, you know the rest, it's pod excellence, get the message. Advocates for Nubian wrestling, you're listening to the best again. Black wrestling in the ring we invested in. Nubian kings and queens we invested in. It's for the culture and we reppin' it. It's for the culture and we reppin' it.
And welcome to the NWA Podcast, the Nubian Wrestling Advocates, the show all about getting color in the professional wrestling business. We are back and better than ever. Maybe a little bit delayed, but you know it was kind of a throwback. I was telling the fellas before we turned the mics on tonight. You know, we hadn't had a good old-fashioned technical difficulty in a hot minute, so you know we had to bring it back. So I don't know if it's, the weather going on, in my area, or if it's just the energy that I'm projecting. Because I do believe, I had a friend tell me once that your emotions, your energy that you put out can affect technology. And I'm so hyped that these Atlanta Falcons out here on these 2-0 streets, undefeated, never lost. So maybe that energy is messing with the technical situation tonight. But we're not going to let that stop us. We are here to talk about the biggest stories of the past month in the world of professional wrestling. So before we get to our loaded slate of topics, let me introduce who we are. I am, of course, the Godfather, Nate Milton, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. 10 years in the game, ain't a damn thing changed. And I am joined by the advocates. First of all, let me introduce a brother that you all know, a brother that you all love, brother that you all respect. He is the angry intellectual. Some people out here call him Mimosa Kris. He is one third. I was gonna say one half Kris, but maybe I might be putting a little too much on 10-day raised plate. So let's say he is one half of possibly three kings over at the Kings of Sport podcast. But most importantly, he is my brother and my friend. Y'all give it up for the professor, Kris Ealy. Can we rock? What's up, Doc?
Yo, what's up, man? First off, shout out to Coach Prime. They needed that. That win was a little too close for my liking.
Shout out to Mike Mills from Booking the Territory. It's a great show y'all need to check out. Mike Mills says everything is pro wrestling, Kris, and he said that game last night was perfect pro wrestling booking. You had the perfect heel with Colorado State. You had the perfect underdog babyface with Coach Prime, and it was an exciting win. We had a lot of false finishes. We had some blood. They were showing color on the field, and then ultimately the good guys won. So it was a great night.
Yeah, double overtime. Yeah. Where do we begin tonight, man? That's like the number one question, I guess. Andrew, because I saw his news update on the Post website, and we are not short on topics this week. That's an understatement.
No, we are not short on topics. And Kris, you said, where do we begin? How do we figure out where to begin? Well, lucky for you, we got this brother out here. Normally I call him the nephew, but I'm gonna call him Waze this week. He gonna direct us through the traffic of this pro wrestling landscape that we about to go on this journey on. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, he is back after missing the last episode. He was on assignment, and we had Rookie Ray step in and not step into the shoes of the nephew, but at least sit in the chair of the nephew. But he is back and better than ever. Y'all give it up for the man that brings you all the news that's fit to read here at Post Wrestling, one of the hardest working young cats in the game. And of course, Kris, like we said, he is our nephew, the youngest in charge. He back, Andrew Thompson.
My guys, man. It's good to see y'all, brothers, man. It's good to see y'all. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be here. We got, like Kris said, we have absolutely no shortage of news topics this month, man. A lot of stuff going on. Pepsi Field back in the news, man. What a surprise. That man, Pepsi Field is back in the news. We got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, but y'all want to get into it, man?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Shall we get into it?
You're pulling back the curtain like I talked to the guys before. And I feel like we have this conversation every month, Andrew. Like, you know what? Hey, guys, we going to keep it tight this month. You know, we going to keep it. And then we always end up with 4-hour episodes. But the people dig it, man. So we going to try to keep to a schedule this month. But if we go over it, it is what it is. So, Andrew, like Kris said, man, there's so much to talk about this month. Let's not waste any more time. What is the first topic of discussion, brother?
So the first thing we're going to talk about now, I'm glad we chose, because I think this is going to be our cover photo for this podcast episode. Sister Jade Cargill has departed All Elite Wrestling, and all signs are pointing to her heading to WWE. I'm gonna get into the reporting stuff, but just want to catch everybody up if you haven't been up on the news. I'm pretty sure most people who watch this show anyway probably know what's going on anyway. But just a quick rehash. Jade Cargill, she was away from AEW since Double or Nothing. 2023, she lost the TBS title, as we all know, to Kris Statlander. Her winning streak got stopped at 60-0. Hell of a feat from Jade. She returned on the September 9th episode of Collision and took out the Renegade Twins and the TBS champion, Kris Statlander. AEW had quickly announced that they were going to have a rematch on the following Wednesday's Dynamite, but that it was going to be taped for Rampage, but it happened on Wednesday. And immediately after that, I believe it had got reported by Fight for Select that sources indicated to them that Jade Cargill was going to be finishing up with AEW, and they believed that she was going to be heading to WWE. Now today, the day that we're recording this, PW Insider released a report. It said that Cargill is scheduled to be at the WWE Performance Center this week. Brother Nate, start with you, man. You know you've always been a big supporter of Jade. Like, what do you think about prospect of her in WWE? What that could look like, and also what you think about the way her AEW run turned out? I know me, and I'm pretty sure Kris feel the same way. There was a lot left on the table for Jade and AEW. Like, she barely got in the mix with some of the some of the other mainstays within the women's division. But man, like I mean, you know, they PW Insider put out that report, a very credible source, and you know she's going to be at the Performance Center this week, and look like WWE is the WWE to lock Jade, man. That's let me just say this real quick before you go, Nate. That is a major steal for WWE right there. That's major, and that's a big loss for AEW. One of their homegrowns dipping out 60-0, and now she going like she's like a more she's after 3 years of television experience. She's a more polished version of herself now, going to this other company that probably will make her even a more polished version of her in terms of TV experience. So it's that's a loss. That's a big L for AEW, like in terms of like just lost talent wise, man. And big gift for WWE. But yeah, Nate, what you think about this whole Jade Cargill going to WWE, man? What you thinking?
First of all, want to give honor and glory to Brother Devontae for opening the door and saying, let my people go. Let my people go, TK. But now, man, all jokes aside, I think this is a big move, not only for Jade, but as you mentioned, Andrew, for WWE. Because I think we've talked about it for months. Jade Cargill is a star with a capital S. Jade Cargill is money. And there was so much left on the table, I think, in terms of her AEW run. And this is an analogy that might be a little Afrocentric, but this is the NWA podcast, and I think all of us will appreciate it. You know, I talk often, Andrew, about playing non-conference games and in-conference games. It felt like Jade Cargill was the most dominant team in the SWAC or the MEAC. She was like Grambling State on Rampage. She was going on prolific runs, winning national, MEAC titles, conference titles year after year after year. But they never let her get into the Big 12. They never let her get into the Pac-10.
On the island, bro.
Yeah, and so yes, she had a great run in AEW. You can't take anything away from her, and maybe she felt personally like I've done as much as I can do here, even though I think we all can acknowledge there was so much more to do, you know, including going after that women's title. Like that to me was in the future for Jade Cargill had she stayed. But I feel like, and Kris and I talked about this a little bit yesterday when we did the Kings of Sport, Jade is somebody who It would take a special kind of, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, Kris. It would take a special kind of ignorance. I think that's the word I'm going to land on. A special kind of ignorance if you are a company and you drop the ball with this woman. You know what I mean? Like Andrew, like you said, she was in AEW. Basically, AEW was her developmental time in terms of learning to work with different styles, getting better in the ring, working on her character, working in front of live crowds. And so after 3 years of training, you bring her up to the biggest show in the world. As much as, you know, we all love and respect AEW, WWE is still the biggest fish in the game right now. And so, Kris, to me, I know you had a little bit of a trepidation when we talked about it yesterday, but I think it's a good move if they use her properly, man. She can be a big star in this company if they don't fumble the bag with her.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. I'm so nervous about Jade's future in wrestling because in AEW, she was booked strong. No one can deny that. She was never booked in anything like meaningful as far as a storyline perspective goes, right? That's like she was booked to beat people.
I mean, honestly, the biggest storyline she had, Kris, was that her debut when she was in the
with
mixed tag with Shaq.
With Shaq. Yeah, it was like she came in guns a-blazing strong, and then she just kind of was there to kind of, and I don't even necessarily fault them for doing this. She was there to beat people. And she was one of those people, like, it's very hard to get someone to boo someone who does what they say they're going to do, who says, I'm going to beat your ass, and then beats your ass.
Coach Prime.
That's not getting booed, you know? Jade was very good at that. My nervousness with her is she is a very meaningful person in AEW. WWE, we've seen this story time again. She can have a career that goes the way of AJ Styles. She could also have a career that goes the way of EC3. It really depends on the value WWE sees in her. So one thing I'm happy that she did was allow herself to hit free agency. That's really the only way you can have meaningful talks with them. I just hope she's got like a great agent that's gonna make sure she's set up for success. I don't know what this merger, this new company TKO is gonna mean for her, but I know and I don't know what kind of bag TK was offering her, but it obviously was a few weeks ago, she was talking about how much she loved TK and AEW and stuff. But I guess the bag wasn't what it was supposed to be, you know? So,
I mean, not only the bag though, Kris, it's like, if we're going to use football as an analogy, you know, I got the Dolphins and the Patriots on in the background. So Jade was doing big things on a team that was a playoff team, Andrew. Like she was on the Jaguars, right? You know, that's
funny.
She was on the Jaguars. You know, they got a good upside. They're an exciting team to watch. But the Jaguars, they not the Chiefs. The Jaguars, they not the Patriots. You know, the Jaguars, they not the Cowboys. Even though, you know, the Cowboys, they living on that reputation from like 30 years ago. But I think there is something to somebody that's a competitor, Andrew, and particularly when you think about Jade kind of getting into the business at a later age, where it's like, I've only got a certain amount of time to do this from a physical standpoint. I want to maximize my value, and maybe as much as I love being in AEW, I got to see if I can make it with the Chiefs. I got to see if I can get that Lombardi trophy. I got to see if I can run with the big dogs.
I would say, Jay, I was looking at what Jay, she young though, man. They say she 31. Jay young. She's young,
buck, but in terms of when she got in the game.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, yeah. In that sense, yeah, I get what you're saying. But like when I'm thinking about her potential WWE run, I'm not necessarily like worried about it. To be honest, like for real, like Jay, she's like probably the one person, the one wrestler that I can remember for like just for like a wrestler coming from another company or transitioning to WWE from the indies that I'm like least worried about in terms of like how they're going to present her. I mean, but you fucking look at her, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she looks like a WWE, like what they brand as a WWE superstar. Like, she looks like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like, and I'm just thinking like she had the, okay, so we got this 3 years of television experience for her. I do think there are improvements that she can make in the ring, but that's only gonna come with time and just with reps. And I think that she gained a lot of that, being the TBS champion and also training with Bryan Danielson. Like, I mean, like when you learn it from Danielson, like I'm pretty sure at some point shit just started to become like more natural as you go. So I'm pretty sure she would take some of the lessons that she learned from him and take that into WWE. And WWE, they got a nice coaching staff at the Performance Center too as well. But also like, another point on that is like I saw a lot of people debating about how you bring her in, and there was like some sort of like just varying ideas and some good ideas and that I saw from people, like whether it depends on people looking at going straight to the main roster or going to NXT. The only way that I would want her going to NXT is if there's a surefire plan that she's gonna be the one to take the strap from Becky. From Becky, like, that's like, because I just don't see the point of her already having these 3 years of television experience on national television. And then to just go back to developmental, it's like it's kind of
she's like, immediately bigger than the show. If she went to NXT. You like sort of I'm gonna kick it over to you in a second, Kris, but like it's like she's sort of spinning her wheels, and like I wanted to make sure I mentioned this dude's name because he had a good idea that I thought was a good idea on Twitter. It's at BusterBoy22. He had said on Twitter, it has came across it on my with the For You section or whatever like that on Twitter, and he was like, the idea of introducing Jade on the main roster through Cody.
Yes,
and you know Cody.
We said that yesterday.
You know what he said, that he cashed in some chips or whatever to get Jey Uso to Raw. Maybe that like sort of chip was to bring Jade Cargill in the WWE, and then you do something at Fastlane where it'll be Cody and Jade versus Dominic and Rhea. And then that way you have Jade already in the mix with the Women's World Champion. Like for me, like again, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, I'm completely against Jade going to NXT, but I feel like you really are kind of spinning your wheels with that. And like the only way that I can see that happening is if she's going to be the one to dethrone Becky Lynch, and then that way you can justify this like this lady just spent like the last 3 years of her career on TNT and TBS. You know what I'm saying? Like
on the show that was beating NXT.
On the show that was beating NXT. You know, so I mean that's two things I could see. But I was gonna ask you, Kris, kick it over to you. Think Jay should just go straight to the main roster? Like,
I'm 100% against.
Ain't even hesitate.
NXT. Here's the thing. The talent that she's been wrestling in AEW is better than anybody she's going to face in NXT besides like a Becky Lynch. You know, there's some good women in NXT, but going to NXT is a downgrade for her. She needs to go to the main roster, and people are going to know who she is. That's just whoever's saying that.
Hey, Kris, let me just add on to that point. People like I just want to reiterate. I don't got no extra point, Nate, but I just want to reiterate what this man said. People are going, they are going to know who Jade Cargill is, and even if they don't, she's going to stand out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She's going to stand out, but she has a presence though. So go ahead, Kris. I just wanted to reiterate what you just said because I know, bro, because I know that people sometimes have that thought about certain. They be like, "Oh, are people going to know this?" People going to know who she is, bro.
I just want them to do right by her when she goes to WWE. That's my only thing with her. Listen to what they have to say. I want them to have a clear vision of what they want to do with her. That's my whole thing. I want her to talk to them, you know, go back to TK and say, yo, this is the offer Uncle Paul made to me.
Uncle Paul.
What do you
Triple
have?
Paul. Triple Paul.
Yeah, what do you have to match it? This is what they gave me, and try to see.
You want to play the game?
Yeah, you
Leverage.
can play them against each other. But I don't want her overplaying her hand either. I don't want her just going to WWE and then
I think that's what she's doing. Like she was a free agent for like a week.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can play her hand, but just don't. I don't want her going there and then her job is to job to Bianca Belair and the job to Rhea Ripley, and like these are the real women stars. Jade is coming from a different spot, because what the difference between her and Cody is Cody came up through the WWE system. Regardless of where he went, they can always lay claim to the early
being a WWE guy.
Yeah, the early parts of his career are like very attached to WWE. I was watching a clip yesterday of him and Sandow getting the beats by The Rock. You know, they were getting I didn't even like, once I saw it, I remembered it. But it's something that you could easily forget, that he's got that kind of history in WWE, and Jade doesn't. So she, like, I know she got
that one performance in the trial photo.
Yeah, she does have that, and that was a decent, and that was the tryout where they kind of disrespected her and did,
exactly when they ain't signed.
And now she's built herself. Yeah, she's built herself up to.
They gonna run that photo into the ground like, Jade's come home.
She was here first.
Yeah, they'll do that. They'll be like, they'll be like, it's a homecoming for Jade. And hopefully they leave her intact. Like, they're not changing her name to something stupid.
Is her real name Jade Cargill? That's a real name.
That's
right?
a real name. Yeah,
Jade Cargill.
That's and if anybody should they use a real name for?
Do you know who that is, Cole? I know that woman,
Jade Storm.
That's Onyx McGillicuddy.
Yeah. Like they got, and my whole thing is just do right by this woman.
Onyx.
Yeah, they'll call her something, man.
Onyx McGillicuddy.
Yeah, I mean, this woman, not only was she on AEW, I mean, she was like doing stuff with Bow Wow, you know. And
I forgot about that Bow Wow angle.
She was on the Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? She was on like other like
she did the Fresh Montana music video too.
Yeah, she did that. She was doing some pop culture stuff. I think WWE, the only thing you can do with this is mess it up, and I've seen them do it before, and that's just my fear. I've also seen them not do it too. You know. So, and I don't know,
Kris.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how TKO is doing things. I don't know like how they're prioritizing wrestlers.
If they're smart, they we see Jade front row at the next UFC event.
Right.
Shit,
yeah.
Like
I know what I think gonna happen. I think now that they got their merger complete, I think they about to go on a damn signing spree. Like they just about to start signing motherfuckers left and right. But like, well, Jade, bro, like I think that just a very easy way to bring her in is through that Cody connection. Because I mean, the outside connection is existent. Like they can tell that how they know each other and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a very easy way to introduce her and stuff like that. So I mean, that would be cool. And then by her being with like Cody's probably the most over like baby face in WWE, like without question. So, but other than he some weird LA Knights like teetering underneath him right there. But like I mean, I'm pretty sure Jay would get some of that like residual, you know, baby face stuff. Like to me personally, like see, this is the thing when I'm going back to AEW. I literally felt like when Jade came back, that was going to be the babyface run. Like that was like the babyface run for Jade Cargill. It was right there because like this is what happened. She came in as a heel, and then you know she did the whole long reigning TBS champion. But then over time, people started endearing themselves to her because she was a homegrown talent, and they got to see her grow over the years and started to gain, like, it's that mutual respect thing between the talent and the fans. So when she came back, I was like, oh yeah, this about to be her big baby face when she finally about to get it. Shit, I was like, shit, she probably be the one to take the belt off Saraya. Like I was like genuinely thinking that Jade was gonna get that big baby face run, but now kind of getting a fresh start.
There's still time for TK to get his head out of his ass, man. There is. He could. I think Jade is open to hearing what he's got to say. I do. I think she's.
Chris, hold on, Chris.
No, wait, real quick. Like, I mean, I do get what you're saying on that, but I mean, like, we at the point now, bro, where she going to the PC. I think shit is like probably.
Well, I see guys go to the PC and nothing come up.
Chris, I'm gonna put it to you like this. You know, maybe this song is a little too old for the nephew and some of the listeners out there, but I know, Chris, you and a lot of our audience will appreciate this reference. I think when you talking about Jade kind of going back and talking with TK sitting there looking at Jade talking about, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. Because I think, you know, there was that, and that to me, Andrew, talks to the effect of how valuable Jade is as a performer, that this free agency period was like 8 days. You know what I'm saying?
But she was like you just said, she was literally like I mean, there's no confirmed deal that she's been signed. There's been like
all signs
are pointing to her going to WWE.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, if she was to have these conversations with Tony, I definitely think that this sort of period would have been much longer. But seeing is how, like, she did the whole thing with Kris Statlander and gave it a long hug after the Rampage, and she
that
said
felt
goodbye.
Like a write-off.
That felt like she was done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it felt like that,
on.
but but if she was still under contract, which if I
she's not
Meltzer, no, when she did the match with Kris Statlander, she was still under contract. If Meltzer's reporting,
I saw. It was on. I think it was PWS. They reported. Fight Select. They reported that her contract expired some point at last week, but it was after
it was after. So she was. So now she's in a period where she can talk to both of them. Last week she all she could do is be like, all she's doing at that point is getting, if they're doing everything ethically.
Right.
And I'm just going to assume that they are. Let's just assume.
Because everything in the wrestling business is ethical, Chris.
Right, of course. Let's just assume for 5 seconds everything was ethical.
Above board.
She might have gotten fillers from people saying, Triple H wants you, but you can't talk you can't talk to him until that contract is up. And now that contract is up, and now you can talk to both people. And
I get what you're saying.
You can say, yo, one last chance, Tony. This is what WWE wants to offer me. What you got? This is an athlete thing. This is this is how the wrestling business is supposed to be.
Yeah.
At its very best. This is what you should be allowed to do in the wrestling business.
I'm about to say, and Chris just added to the point, that's why it's great to have another competitor so people can have these leverage points.
Yeah.
But we also don't know, Chris, like, and I get it. And we've seen this in professional sports before, like when somebody hits free agency. But sometimes you get that offer that's like, damn. They back up the Brinks truck and then some, Chris. And we don't know if TKO came with that kind of offer to Jade.
He better. I mean, they need to do that. They need to take care of her monetarily, and they need to take care of her from a storyline perspective also. Not just, because the money is only going to keep you warm for so long. I've seen this in the wrestling business,
And also, if you're Jade, to me, Chris, if she is signing with the WWE, this is not a forever thing, right? Yeah. I think this is I want to see. I want to see if I can do this. I want to see what they can do for me. If it don't work, it seems by all accounts, she's not leaving. She's not leaving like the Muffin Man.
Yeah, and
she can come back.
Yeah, and Jade is one of those people that I think
we're gonna talk about that brother Cody later. But if things don't work out, WrestleMania 40,
they doing this brother dirty, man.
AEW all Rhodes leaves home. 2025. It's time to go back.
Everybody coming home.
Everybody coming back.
Jade, Cody.
Yeah.
Brandy.
But Kris had mentioned the interview that she did with Women's Wrestling Talk. Like so that interview, I believe, was taped in early August, late July, because that was around the French Montana. That was when that was recorded at that shoot. So that's when that happened. But I mean, it got dropped the week that she came back. So like you heard her say about the stuff that is like no other place she'd rather be, and you know what I'm saying. And I had saw people when the news had first got reported that she was. People believed that she was heading to WWE. Like, people was pulling up those quotes and stuff like that, and was like, I basically saying, how could you say such and such? But I mean, when I see that from her, the first thing I'm thinking is like, I mean, what y'all want her to be like? Exactly. Oh yeah, well, I'm thinking about going over here. Like it's like
to get over. Motherfuckers are allowed to change their mind. That's life.
Chris,
you have whole marriages where motherfuckers like, yo, I promise I'll be married to you forever. Circumstances change.
But Chris, but Chris, even on that point, even if that's not the case, bro, why was she as a businesswoman even like try to alienate herself from the opportunity from the other side or from AEW? Like why would you even do that? You don't want to burn your bridges. That's just bad business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think he wants to burn bridges, but I'm let's say she meant it 100% when she said it. That was Thursday. Today is Friday. It's really that simple, man. It's like, again, people are allowed to change their mind. That is not it wasn't a lie when she said it. It was. She didn't say
that. All she said was that Tony Khan was a great boss and she liked being at AEW.
But those were the circumstances when she said it. Now it's like, okay, TK ain't coming with the bag. Let me listen to what these people have to say. She's allowed to do that. That is this loyalty to companies bullshit has always gotten on my nerves with wrestling fans. It's like you get mad at people when they try to make themselves get the best, themselves in the best situation possible.
Hey, Kris, I cannot stand that in the NBA too. When people be getting mad at players for like not sticking. I'm like, bro, these owners will trade you in a second. Yeah. Bro, y'all remember Isaiah Thomas when his sister passed away and he came out that same day, played in the playoffs and went crazy. And they let his ass go the next. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that people should always do what's in the best, like for themselves. Of course, there are varying circumstances where you develop certain relationships with these owners and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you also gotta while there can be that established relationship. Like even for example, like you bring up Chris Jericho, right? That man said that he would never in his life work for any person other than Vince McMahon. Yeah. And did he work for somebody other than Vince McMahon? You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that happens, bro. Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure Mark Henry thought he was going to be with WWE forever. I'm pretty sure Paul White thought he was with WWE forever. You know what I'm saying? And everybody everybody not seeing everybody not Tim Duncan. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not Dirk Nowitzki. You know what I'm saying? You always stay with one team, and people like
never understood that mentality from fans because Andrew, they're putting a level of responsibility on an athlete or a performer that they wouldn't put on themselves. Anybody listening, if you at the job, and I'm not even going to point the finger outward, I'm going to point the finger inward. If you ask me today, Kris, hey, Nate, how you like the shoot job? And be like, you know what, man, it's cool. You know, I like my coworkers, man. I'm making decent money. You know, it is what it is. Let some radio station call me tomorrow. You think I'm giving them a 2-week notice? They lucky if they get a 2-day notice, nephew. Yeah, for real. Because I'm out the door.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like you have to kind of. She didn't do anything. She hasn't done anything wrong in this situation.
It's business.
She ain't saying that.
Yeah, she came back. She did business. You know, and they didn't bury her on her last match. They treated her.
They did though, Kris. I mean, not bury her, but like they treated her like really well.
They even protected the finish.
They say she didn't even kick out her. I mean, she they protected the finish and all that. Like, you know, and she finished what 60-2.
Yeah.
And only 2 losses was the Statlander.
The Statlander. Yeah. And Statlander doing great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at that, bro. You know what
I think that she's like, I don't think AEW, like, because I've seen burials where, when someone's on their way out of a company,
like how WWE almost did the Mox.
How they did how they were trying to do the Mox.
Yeah,
what they did to Lita.
Yeah, how they did Lita was dirty.
Was the what they've just done time and time again. The Click guys, you know what I'm saying, with Diesel and with Razor Ramon, you could tell on their last month or two at WWE, they were leaving because they were just jobbing every damn body, you know. Yeah. All leading up to the curtain call situation. And Jade, she came back, she did her match. The match was done
great
in
match
such.
too.
It was probably one of the best matches of her AEW career. It was done in such a way to where if she did decide to resign, you could. It was a match where they didn't make her look stupid and silly in the match.
She'd instantly come back as a babyface.
And then on top of that, she lost.
Hold on, real quick, Andrew. I'm gonna leave it on Kris for just a second because I've been slipping on my pimping
with the super chat,
because we do have a lot of folks watching tonight. We appreciate y'all for watching, tuning in to the NWA podcast. Everybody's got a lot of thoughts on this, but the quickest way, the best way to jump to the front of the line is to hit that super chat button, and we will highlight your comments. So I'm gonna leave Kris on the screen while I go through these super chats. First off, we got a super chat from
Ray Williams.
I know that ain't who I think it is, Andrew.
Yeah. Ray Williams.
10-day Ray showing up in the super chat. Appreciate you, brother.
30-day contract Ray.
30-day
in the building.
Ray.
That's the man right there.
More super chats down here. Here's another one. I'm gonna bring this on the screen so Kris can see this. Bam.
Okay.
Okay. He said going to listen later on this road driving truck. Just wanted to show y'all some love. Keep up the great work. Shout out Derek.
Appreciate that, Derek. And then we got
Black Mega Man. He said the real question is, will the Bow Wow happen now?
Is Bow Wow gonna show up at Fastlane?
It ain't happening.
Yeah, that's a good. See, that's the thing with Bow Wow is like Bow Wow is not a big music. Bow Wow was never like a A-list musician. You know, he was always.
Laura's bringing the heat right here.
What he say? Plus Jay saw with the swole situation, one little critique, and TK would flip his lid. So I don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, yeah.
What's that line from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Kris? Like, you had a line, but you're not wrong.
yeah. It's I don't even know what to like. There's no counter to that because he did flip his lid, and you know, who knows? Who's to say he won't do that again? You know, I hope and pray that like I personally think TK should have did whatever he could to lock Jade down. Like, she's not somebody that you just let go to the competition. You show this woman, hey, this is AEW, this is your home. We are gonna value you. Vince McMahon is not. They are in the middle of a merger. They do not have time to care about you. We will care about you. And that's how you do that, you know. And I don't know if TK is looking at it like that, you know.
He said, I think you special little nobody says. I think you are overestimating her a little bit. She needs more training.
Yeah, she does. No, she does need.
She needs more training, but
everybody needs more training. I mean, shit. Like, so here's my thing. Do you expect her to go to NXT and wrestle
people that had the same, some people that had the same amount of experiences?
Yeah, or Lash Legend. Like, does she deserve having to wrestle Lash Legend on NXT?
What's up with this Lash Legend?
How Lash Legend catch a straight?
That's what I'm saying. You throw the strings in Lash Legend.
So who's out of Lash Lash Legend.
I mean, first of all, Kris, before we go down this road, shout out to the good sister Lash Legend, man. Keep doing your thing.
On the metaphors with Norm Dar, Ora Mensa, and Jakara Jackson. They got a nice little thing going in NXT. They got
a nice little thing, but I'm just saying, like,
no, but I mean,
Jade Cargill is a markedly better wrestler than a lot of those women in NXT. I don't even.
You can say a lot, but it's so many people in NXT. They ain't even had their first match yet. You know what I'm saying? You can say men and women that she has more. I mean, then on top of that, I think NXT. I mean, it's still national television, but Jade been wrestling in arenas for the past 3 years, several years of her career.
In arenas, she's been big time. She's been important in that company for them to send her off on other media appearances. And
to his point about I guess her need more training. Like she definitely does need just more reps. But like in terms, I think more people are looking at sort of the long-term vision of what she can do from that presence that she has for somebody that has as little experience. And that's the thing,
you can't train that, Andrew. You can't train somebody who just pops off the screen.
You know, exactly. And like honestly, I don't even think it's nothing else to like add to that. Like you can always get better in the ring. If she really puts in the work, you can always get better. You cannot find too many people that look like Jade Cargill, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you just can't do that. And you can't, like she pops off the screen, bro. She got charisma. It is natural. Can't fake that. You can't teach that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you get somebody a character. And I don't really think she plays a character. She's just like herself
just her.
on TV. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, of course she has ways to go in the ring because I mean she only 3 years in. Yeah. But I mean.
And the only way she's gonna get there, to Chris's point, I'm gonna say Chris's point without taking shots at our good sisters down on NXT. But I think she doesn't get better by wrestling the girls on NXT.
I mean,
she gets better by wrestling the Biancas and the Charlottes.
I'm gonna say this real quick. There are some talents in NXT who have experience, like Lyra Valkyria. She's been in the game for a little bit. She can go, but you have a couple like even I don't know how long Kiana James been wrestling, but she real polished, like really polished wrestler. Like, bro, you have some names in NXT, bro, who can bring a lot of good stuff out of Jade. But I think that to y'all's point, and what both of y'all are saying is that the main stage is sort of like the better fit, opposed to sort of killing this time in NXT. Like again, if she goes to NXT, it should be like 4 months stint at the max. Right. And then that way you can get the whole thing out of the way. If you want her to spend some time out there, with the Norma Smileys and the Steve Carinos and you know what I'm saying, you want her to spend time with
that WrestleMania debut.
Get her ready for whatever you want to do with her. Then that's cool. But like I think the better way to go is to just introduce her in the main roster through somebody that's already established, and that way it'll be just more of a smoother transition in case people are sort of worried about that idea of like, I guess, getting her over, but I think she'll be fine. Like either way. To be honest with you, you go ahead, Nate.
I was gonna say real quick, Andrew. Like you brought up the person on Twitter that mentioned that Cody introduction, and Kris independently. Like we talked about that after the Kings of Sport yesterday, and so like I'm just thinking, man, like you got a segment where Rhea and Dom they just throwing shade, all kinds of shade at Devontae, and then out of nowhere, Andrew, cut the shit, Dominic.
Yeah.
And then Brandy come out from the other side of the stage. Who told you it was open mic night? Brandy,
you might have a black belt, Rhea.
Hey.
We ain't going there. We ain't
going there. But for fellas, we 44 minutes in. We only on the first topic. Shall we get into the next one? Because this one might be
last thing on Jade, like I think all three of us, depending, regardless of how we feel about how the WWE may or may not use her, this is a big opportunity for her. And I hope that they maximize the talent with Jade, because if they use her right, man, this could be big for our system.
Bro, I'm gonna be so like, just like I said earlier, bro, like she's like one of the people that I'm like, I'm not concerned, bro. I think she'll be.
They ain't gonna do her like Braden Walker.
I'm concerned about everybody when they go to WWE.
They said Braden Walker.
Yeah.
Knock.
But I think she'll be okay.
Because
I think she'll be okay.
But because WWE has that's a realistic possibility that they could mess her up so bad that going back to AEW isn't even an option because that's like with Braden Walker. Braden Walker went to WWE with a lot of promise, and then
are we comparing Jade to Kris? Are we talking about Kris
I'm comparing her to other wrestlers who have walked the same walk that she's about to walk.
But they ain't walking like she walks.
This man talking about some Chris Harris. Let's move on to the next topic, bro.
Is a fair comparison. AJ Styles is a fair comparison. Just Samoa Joe, EC3. What's Glorious dude? Robert Roode.
Bobby Roode, yeah.
All of them are fair. Everyone is a fair comparison.
To a certain, but I mean, when you looking at with the names you just said, I mean, AJ had a good run. Has a great run actually.
It's hit or miss with everybody, and I'm just saying with her, they can go either way.
Left or right,
yeah. So,
I mean, but me personally, bro, I'm not. It's not necessarily me like a faith in WWE thing. I just think that she'll just.
It's hard to mess up.
Yeah,
but it's not even like a thing. Like I'm not even like combating Chris's point. Like I definitely think that they can go either way. But like it's not even it's not a faith like WWE thing. I just think that she just do well. You know what I'm saying? Like I really do think that her run will be just fine. That she'll be okay and she'll win championships and you know what I'm saying. It'll be all good. I like honestly, it wouldn't be bad if her career turned out like Asuka, when she won a bunch of championships, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, you know what I'm saying, got all the damn accolades that you could possibly ask for. And then when you even looking at this, but I'm talking about like this signing, like they got reportedly Kyrie supposed to be coming back too. So when you looking at that and she wrapping up her run in Japan this month before she take her hiatus. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice little group of pair of signers right there, man. But I think Jade I think she'll be all right. But we get into this next one. CM Punk, fellas. CM Punk fired from All Elite Wrestling. And then this man went on his CFFC commentary, speculation about the next 2 months of his career, and everybody knows what 2 months is. 2 months is Survivor Series. But let's rewind this a little bit. It would not be the NWA podcast if we didn't have some talk about the King Pepsi himself, man. CM Punk, as we all know by now, after All In Wembley Stadium, CM Punk was fired from AEW after a physical altercation with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. It was noted in the press release from AEW that CM Punk's employment and wrestler contracts were terminated with cause, which means it like committed a serious breach of conduct in the workplace, which led to him being fired. Punk, he keeping people on their toes, man. As I mentioned at the CFFC commentary where he returned last night. Oh, let me make sure I read this from T. Anthony real quick. Shout out to the $5 super chat. T. Anthony said if she goes to NXT, it should be to say hi and bye.
Yeah, really. I agree. That should be it. She should be in NXT for the long period of time. But let's finish this up. Cool game, Big B. Thanks for the $2 super chat. He said Jade is bigger than 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday nights. Yeah. He talking about the AEW spot, the quarter.
Damn.
We gotta let's. Yeah, I agree.
He was talking about the spot that. But the women always get put on AEW. That's what he said.
It's a disrespectful spot. That's the thing. It's like AEW, they've done right by her individually, but they haven't done right for the division. And they really, even with her, it's like no storyline. But outside of what Nate mentioned with Shaq and all that
Cody,
stuff. Cody, that was years ago, man. They haven't done anything with her. Like they keep putting her with Smart Mark Sterling, and she'll beat somebody up and then move on to the next person and beat them up. It's she needs to be involved in a story that's gonna that people are gonna remember. Something
that got some meat on the bone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Thanks for the super chat, y'all.
Shout out for the super chats, man. But like going back to CM Punk, he was on the Cage Fury Fighting Championship commentary, as he always does, and he said that he has time on his hands for the next 2 months. Of course, 2 months from now, Survivor Series, and Nate, bring me out real quick. Bring me out to the main screen, Nate. Bring me out to the main screen, brother. And Nate, tell me what city Survivor Series is emanating from this year, brother?
The city with the best breakfast muffins in the world right now, Andrew Thompson.
Chicago, Illinois is hosting Survivor Series. Man, hey, Nate, I'm gonna kick it over to you first, and then I'm gonna go to you, Kris. CM Punk doing what he does best, causing a ruckus, man, causing a speculation. Nate, do you even think it's a possibility that this man, which I mean, and it only got to be Survivor Series, but to see him come, like, cause it's funny because I had saw on Twitter, and I can't remember I tried to write this stuff down, but I forgot to write this one. Somebody, I gotta actually fact check this, but they said that the Royal Rumble will be the date of the Royal Rumble will be the anniversary of the day that he walked out. That would be like the day of anniversary. You know what I'm saying? Like it's stuff like that is hilarious, bro. But like on the idea of him coming back after everything that has went down between him and WWE over the years, the interviews, of course, the infamous interview with Cole Cabana that he did on the Auto Wrestling Podcast, the lawsuits of getting fired on his wedding day. I mean, but when you even mention that stuff, people who have had these issues with the company have come back. You know what I'm saying? Even most recently, and it's not as severe as with Punk and WWE's relationship, but even Carl Anderson, he went on that whole thing when he did his interviews and stuff like that. And he was going in on him. He said, "I will never work for that company again." Where we at? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, like it's stuff like that happens. But Nate, just after everything that has transpired between the two, even the relationship between Triple H and CM Punk that has been documented over the years, do you see an idea? Do you see the opportunity, or do you even see a world where CM Punk returns to the company? And just to throw it, like, just to add something more onto it so you can bounce off of, he did show up at Monday Night Raw in June, and you know, by accounts, reports, I think it was PW Insider, they said that he had a conversation with Triple H. Nobody knows what that conversation was about, and he ran into some other individuals who he spent time with in the company, and one could assume that man was trying to mend some fences, because look, CM Punk ain't no dummy, bro.
Nope.
He is not no dummy.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure that he's a very calculated individual. So yeah, Nate, I just wanted to kick it over to you, and what you think, brother?
You know, Andrew, when I was
excuse me,
you good, nephew, you good. When I was a young Godfather, man, I was probably about the age you were when you was watching movies like Planet 51, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. When I was a young man, Andrew, there was a guy in Mississippi where my grandmother lived, and he was just a mean dude all the time, just mean and honoring. I was like, "My dear, why is that man like that all the time?" And she looked at me, she said, "Baby, fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly. Sometimes people are just the way they are." And so to that, I would add, Andrew, fish got to swim, birds got to fly, and the Muffin Man's going to Muffin Man. Like, this is who this guy is now, right? Like, we've been talking about this guy for damn near a year on this podcast, Andrew.
Yeah.
And this is who he is. He is, at the age that he is, you're not going to change, right? Like, he is set in his ways. And so, first point in terms of the firing, I think it was something that had to be done. And again,
he finally put his foot down, bro.
Right.
You want to know what's crazy? Me, you, and Kris been talking about that for so long, bro. That he need to put it. You need to, like, at some point you got to be like, all right,
like, it came late, but at least it came.
Yeah,
it happened.
Well, yeah. Well, it wasn't like Punk left him a choice in this situation.
Right. Like, CM Punk forced Tony to stand up and step up.
Yeah. Man, put them paws on Jack Curry, man.
Right. It's like, but like, and damage
at
the building
at the biggest show, and then went out and had a banger with some.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, really. That was like one of the best matches on the show.
It was.
Man.
Hey, bro, hold on, wait, real quick. I just want to say, I got to see that man last match at AEW in person, and like, I had saw the because I was at the All In show, and I had pulled up my phone after the match, and I had saw the report that he got in an altercation with Jack Perry. I was like, bro, what are we doing, bro?
Right.
Like, what are we doing? But like I'm not one of those people, bro, where I get like super worked up over these, like some of these. It's not like a personal thing. It's just like I don't like know these people, bro. So it's like no thing where I'm like, I hate this individual. I look at it from like how we look at it from an analyst perspective and just analyzing the business side. But there's no personal attachment to these individuals. So it's kind of funny, like, to think about this man, like, literally got in a fight with somebody and then went out and had one of the best matches on the show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's hilarious. But Nick, just to go back to your point, I ain't mean to even sidetrack you that whole thing, but what you think about that, his exit? And I know you was going to touch on the idea of return.
So it had to happen, like, because we've been talking, like, if there was no way for these grown ass adults to act like grown ass adults, then something had to be removed from the equation. And the easiest piece to remove from that puzzle is the piece that doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, is the guy that's hitting motherfuckers.
Right. And his homeboys out here fighting motherfuckers, Chris. Like, hitting and biting. That's what they do.
I'm about to say Nate A still got released too.
Yep. We knew that was going to happen. Like, when you was going, you going too, player. And so I think it had to happen. I was talking with Steve Willie, a friend of the program.
He was on the NWA podcast, right?
Yep. Steve Willie probably watching out there in Chi-Town right now, or on the outskirts of Chi-Town. And I think there is some. I hope he doesn't just try to jump back into something, because I feel like a natural human reaction to somebody. Like, and let's put it like Jack Perry said a stupid thing, right? But your first instinct shouldn't be, I got to put hands on him to teach him a lesson.
Yeah.
The way I know how to communicate is with my hands. It's all I know, Chris. It's how to hit people to get them to understand what I'm trying to say. And so I think CM Punk, like Phil Brooks, we ain't even gonna call this man CM Punk or the Muffin Man or Pepsi Phil, like
King
Phil
Pepsi.
Brooks, the person, I think he needs to kind of take a look inside. Like, if all these things kind of happen in situations I'm in, maybe I'm the common denominator. Like that song, Andrew, it's me.
Right.
I'm the problem. It's me. Look in the mirror, Phil. And so I think that needs to happen before he does anything else. But to your question, Andrew, is there a world, is there a scenario where we could see this man, Phil Brooks, back home, so to speak? I say there is, man.
It don't sound crazy. It don't sound crazy.
Never say never. And here's the other thing, Andrew, and I'll kick it to you, Chris. I think an easy way to kind of accommodate this, I don't know what Phil's relationship is in terms of Dana White and the UFC. I don't know if they cool or they beefing, but I could easily see this situation where now we're TKO. We can bring this dude in to commentate. Oh, by the way, did you know this brother's going to be on this upcoming show? Like, I think the waters might be smoother now than they were 5 years ago.
Right.
Or 10 years ago. And so also, there's an old proverb, Andrew, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes.
And I might not have liked you when you was in AEW talking about me, but now that you beefing with Tony, brother. Come on home, player.
Yeah. Like, here's the bottom line with CM Punk.
That was a great line.
Yeah, he is 100. He is 100% going back to WWE. Yeah. I'm gonna just say it right now.
Hey, Chris. Spite is a strong thing, brother.
Yeah. and with CM Punk, I'm gonna harken back to March of 2022 when one Will Smith at the Oscars.
Shout out for the new member. Appreciate that. Super chat in the building.
Thank you. Yeah. When Will Smith, Chris Rock told a joke that a major, depending on your point of view, joke at Jada Pinkett's expense, his wife. Will Smith handled it in the 100% wrongest way possible you can handle it, because you cannot hit people for words that they say to you. That's never okay. So
you don't know how we get down in DC, Chris.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, man. Look, I'm from South Central.
Yeah, you're from South Central, Chris. Yeah.
Chris don't do fisticuffs. Chris does machinery, I believe, was his line.
That was how that's before I got into corporate America in academia and stuff. That's how you used to do stuff. Now you have something to lose, right? When you are like in these situations, you can be mad at Chris Rock but you can't hit him. You can be mad at Jungle Boy for saying what he said, but you can't hit the guy. And if you hit him in front of people, which is what people who I trust have said, that, you know, he hit him in front of everybody. And now you have to fire him. There's no choice in that situation. Right. And then you can't even bring him back because TK made a public statement saying he felt his life was threatened.
Yeah,
right.
That was overselling like a life. You didn't feel your life was threatened, but yeah, I guess he did that because CM Punk was released with cause. And when you release someone with cause, you have to kind of establish that it was this one person's fault why he was fired. So that's what happened. But you can never put your hands on people. That's just not how adults handle things. And the first
not if you want to keep your lucrative job,
right?
Hey, Chris, just to add into your point, are you surprised that this footage hasn't leaked yet since it was at Wembley Stadium? Like you would assume that somebody has this.
Yeah, I'm sure someone has it, but I don't think it does anybody's favor from a legal standpoint to release it. You just kind of have to. I take everyone's word for it that what happened. Yeah,
because I was about to say just that. Like I was thinking about when the Golden State Warriors, like I guess somebody from that organization had leaked the footage when Draymond fought Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
That's that was kind of crazy. And like you said, Chris, that ain't do nobody favors because look, Jordan Poole got his ass to the DC.
And the thing is, the first time CM Punk did this thing, it was he said, she said stuff, right? It was like the Bucks went to his locker room and nobody really knew what happened. So we, even on this show, we were saying like, we can't say it was CM Punk's fault because everyone's saying one thing and the other thing. So I wasn't going to come on this show and say it was CM Punk's fault. With that said, the shit that happened in AEW is the most ridiculous crap I ever heard. Jack Perry, I think the guy is good.
Say it, Chris. Just say it, bro.
The people that I've talked, I've talked to a couple people from AEW. Jack Perry, there's a good chance he might not be coming back to AEW from what I've heard.
Talk to him, Chris.
The problem that Jack Perry has is if he doesn't go back to AEW, he can't go to WWE because WWE is probably going to be hiring CM Punk.
Right.
And
Checkmate.
Yeah. So I don't.
The Muffin Man wins in the end.
Yeah, I have no idea why you had to get that stupid joke off. Like, and it's not even a situation with Jack. Like if you watch WWE in 1992. You could tell that Shawn Michaels was the next in line. Even if you didn't like Shawn Michaels, you can look at him and say, oh, this guy in the next few years is going to be that guy. I love Jack Perry. I don't see that with him. He's not in a position where even in this hill run, it hasn't been great. It hasn't been horrible, but it hasn't been something like, oh, we need to snatch this guy up, or we need to push. There's like at least 10 guys on AEW that you push before Jack Perry. So I don't know what was so like the need to say that shit to the camera. And then CM Punk, of course, took the bait. Right. And then fought back. But to me, that was the most ill-advised joke.
The M and CM stand for Mayweather that night.
Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, what are you doing? So now you're in a situation where TK has suspended you indefinitely, hasn't even announced the return date for you. I do think once TK's head clears, he will bring Jack Perry back. But
He'll come back.
I think that TK is in a situation right now where he really was trying his best to mitigate that situation with his biggest star, CM Punk, and the Young Bucks, and he was kind of liking the promise of things. And then Jack Perry
had to come in and fuck it all up.
And I'm also curious with Jack Perry. I'm wondering who he's listening to, like because I could see like other guys that don't like CM Punk telling Jack Perry, yeah, fuck that guy. You don't have to listen to him. So if he says anything to you, just talk shit back to him. And I could see a situation where Jack Perry might have taken that advice.
So hey, Chris, like a couple, but this had to be like in May. I want to say like May or late April. Jack Perry was at the For the Love of Wrestling convention out in the UK, and he got asked about like the idea of working with. It was like a Q&A, and he got asked about the idea of working with CM Punk. But you can just tell the vibes was just off, bro. Like he did not want to talk about this dude. Like he was just like, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell he did not want to answer any questions. And it was very evident at that point that there was like some sort of some sort of thing. But I want to read Dolores' comment.
That's a good comment.
He said Punk did what everyone does when you know you're about to be fired from your job. Eventually you start looking for another job. That's why he went on that apology tour. Hey, Nate, bring us out real quick, bro. So I had just mentioned that to you about the idea of, you know, when Punk went because when he went back, Chris, that was like a couple weeks before Collision started, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was like little weeks before Collision launched. So and it was kind of weird that he went there and you know, doing like, you know, going on this quote unquote like what people say was an apology tour. And I it just came to mind. I remember I saw a fight with Sean Ross Sapp. He had reported that like Punk, like he tried to like go back to WWE or some along those lines. Like,
I read that report.
You know what I'm talking. Good, so I'm glad I'm not tripping when I said that. You glad you remember that. But he said that he tried to like make something about the Royal Rumble and like something like the idea of working with Kevin Owens and stuff like that. And like these ideas from him that got tossed around. So like it's like again, see, Punk ain't no dummy, bro. I'm pretty sure he plotting certain things out in it. And like the more that this goes on, and like, you know, with him making the comment at the CFFC about him only having 2 months left free time and stuff. But the idea of him coming back to WWE does not sound crazy at all. Because I actually wanted to ask you, bro. I wanted to get your thoughts on Nick Khan, WWE president, had did an interview with ESPN, Mark Bellotti.
Non-answer.
I wanted to ask you, like, sort of get your response about what he said. But like, did you kind of take this as like, I don't want to say too much, or did you kind of take it as feel? Hold on, wait, before you get an answer, Chris. Before you get an answer, let me read it off to you, and then you go, because I want to say your big response for when I read it. He said, listen, we only have respect for Phil. We appreciate his run here. We appreciate what he did and tried to do with the UFC. Not many people can actually get in there and do what he did. So when we have respect for Phil, we wish him nothing but the best. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, it was a corporate non-answer when you are thinking, when you're 50-50. You're like, we can bring him back, or we can. I think he's going back, because CM Punk, as much as people want to talk crap about him, as much as people want to say Vince will never, how many people in WWE at present time are bigger draws than Phil? There's not many, you know. Like, that's
true, bro.
Where it's just their name is on the marquee, and it can easily sell out a building, and it's not that many people. It's
like a handful of people.
Hey, Chris, what was it? Chris, is it kind of crazy? I mean, not crazy in the sense you can't believe it, but crazy in the sense that CM Punk got fired from this company, right? And like we're right back into that phase of like CM Punk, like we're right. And then you got the Chicago show coming up in November at Survivor Series. Like, is it again not crazy to you in the sense that it's happening, but just crazy how like the bounce back from this dude and like how he's like literally right back in this spot that he was before he came back.
Well, that's the kind of character CM Punk is, because like I was talking to Nate yesterday, and I think Ray was there too. We were talking about I was talking about Kurt Angle, and remember when Kurt Angle got the key lock put on him by Daniel Puder, and then WWE fired Daniel Puder, and we all thought, there was a good chance he could go to TNA and just do things in TNA. And then Kurt Angle went to TNA.
Nope.
And now Daniel Puder is a man without a home. And I kind of see a guy like Jungle Boy, if TK doesn't forgive this guy, because TK has a billionaire temper. If TK doesn't forgive this guy, Jungle Boy could seriously be asked out for a while. So hopefully he never does.
You really showing little faith in our boy Billy Corgan on these streets.
Well, Joel Corgan, Billy Corgan will hire him, and I'm sure.
Jungle Boy Tyrus, the matchup that people been waiting for.
Because you said that, like, I think Court Bauer would definitely bring him in, no question.
Yeah, Court Bauer.
Yeah, I can see Impact even.
Impact will bring him in, but it's just one of those situations.
And wait, just to be like, we not trying to clown MLW, and when we said we being like dead ass serious, like they will bring him in. But go ahead, Chris.
We won't try to clown nobody but Billy Corgan in those last days.
Right? Yeah, and it's just a situation where CM Punk is that kind of guy. You are gonna, as best as you can, try to make him happy, and TK did that as much as he could. Until it just until the situation exploded. Like TK's hand was forced. I don't think CM Punk would have been fired if all he did was yell at Jungle Boy.
No.
But the fact that he put hands on him and he did it in front of people, there's only
Tony's
one
life.
answer. Yeah, and threatened his life, because that's what TK said. You have to let him go at that point.
Hey, bro, that rebuttal from Punk about to be something. It's about to be something.
Yo, and here's the thing, Andrew, because I think a lot was made about once Punk was fired, the reaction like the next night or the night after that in Chicago. Yeah, it's going to be completely the opposite if he shows up at Survivor Series. They're going to be like, it's going to be like a conquering hero.
This about to be like they boy that came back after all these years.
Yep.
They going to be ready.
I don't know if there's going to be a rebuttal from CM Punk, and I tell you this: why?
That's in him. Yeah,
because
illegal.
Because CM Punk, if all accounts are correct, I read this in the Observer. He was signed to a wrestler contract and an employee. Contract.
Yeah, hey, about to say, Chris, that was noted in the termination press release that he's a wrestler and employee contract.
Yeah, so if he got terminated from his employee contract, he got some kind of severance.
Right.
He's not going to be able to say shit about AEW. I'm almost positive of that. He's not going to be. There's not going to be
Instagram posts.
Yeah, there's not going to be any talking crap, because he could really ruin the back for himself. I think he might make some subtle jabs, but I think if he's gonna go to WWE, he's gonna go there. Gonna go to TKO. If he's gonna do his UFC commentary stuff, he's gonna do that. And I do think that he's
because I'm about to say CFFC, they own UFC Fight Pass, I think.
Yeah. So I think he's just gonna be on his best behavior where he goes, until he doesn't feel like being on his best behavior anymore.
But hey, you good, Chris? I mean, you good? Finish.
No, that's it. It's just I think that CM Punk. There's very few wrestlers like CM Punk where you can do the stuff that he does and
get away with it.
A job.
Right,
Yeah, because even AEW, I could see him sitting out for a couple years, and then them consider like, okay, we can bring you back now. They probably won't be the same role, but CM Punk is always going to have name value in wrestling. But
10 years from now, CM Punk is going to go into the AEW Hall of Fame.
Bro, that's
right.
Fact,
and
bro.
the problem that CM Punk has is CM Punk's name is valuable outside of wrestling, so long as he's attached to a wrestling brand. As long as he's attached to a national brand, then Hollywood cares about him a little bit more. I don't think Hollywood cares about CM Punk when he's not in wrestling,
That's a great point.
But it's so crazy to me. Like, this dude, like, he was away from wrestling for 7 years, came back, and it was like the motherfucking savior return. You know what I'm saying? Like, people was going crazy for this dude, bro. And like,
still one of the best moments in AEW history,
bro. Yeah. And like, it was great to see him back, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was great to see Punk back in wrestling. Anybody who's like a longtime wrestler fan and tell you they went to see him back, they bullshit you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was great. It was great to see him back. And like, I'm looking at the idea, like, it's just so funny to me, the prospect of him having the opportunity to get this. He got this massive reaction when he came back to AEW. That Rampage, that was one of the best moments in AEW history, and the fact that he might get to do
it
again.
Run it back,
bro. This dude, bro, he is hilarious, bro. Like, dude, there is literally the opportunity right now, November 25th, Chicago, Illinois, for this man to get possibly one of the biggest reactions that he probably ever gotten in his career. To follow up.
And wrestling fans who are listening to this show, ask yourself this question: how many AEW wrestlers can do that, and how many WWE wrestlers can do that? There aren't many. There is CM Punk. That's about it. Maybe Roman Reigns, maybe Cody, but no one else.
Nobody else is like as definite as
CM Punk is definitely like Andrew just said. He could have these big melee bullshit issues with whatever company he's in, and then go
out here like he on Streets of Rage,
debut in Chicago, and get the biggest pop ever. Like how many wrestlers in history can do that? That is like not an easy.
He put a dog's life in danger allegedly in that brawl, and they gonna welcome him like a hero.
But Kris, like it's so crazy, bro. Like the fact, like just to piggyback on what you were saying, dude. Like again, the altercations and the arguments and the fights and stuff like that. The moment if he shows up in Survivor Series, that shit goes away. Like these people do not care, bro. Like this dude,
he will get the biggest cheers on the planet. Yeah.
Exactly. And then on top of that, bro, like I mean, I'm sort of past this whole like casual fan thing, but there are people who tune into WWE do not pay attention to like any wrestling news. They see this dude again, they gonna be like, CM Punk back.
Yeah, they do AEW with him, man. Like they still haven't gotten consistently 1 million viewers a week since he's been gone. Like CM Punk took fans with him.
He a draw, bro. He's a draw, bro.
Yeah,
he's a draw. He's a draw.
And you know what they say, Andrew? The biggest trick, the greatest trick, the Muffin Man ever pulled was convincing us that he didn't exist, because all of this bad behavior, like you said, as soon as he's in front of a camera, as soon as he's in front of a crowd, that goes away. It goes away,
bro.
It goes away. Hey, but it's part of the frustration, I think, when you talk about Phil Brooks, right? Because it's like, damn, dog. Like, why are you such a problem? Why are you David Ruffin? Like, we know you the best singer in the band, but you don't ever show up to practice. Right. You don't, if you show up to the gig, you show up 20 minutes late, but when you hit a microphone, you're electric.
On a more serious note, bro, like to what I was saying, like, we love doing all the Buffett man jokes and all that. That shit is hilarious. But like on a more serious note, bro, I do think that with Punk, I think that he loves wrestling a lot. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And he loves it to a point where it can affect him in a very, very negative way. Like I even remember do y'all remember back at Dynamite Grand Slam 2021 before he faced Hobbs, and he was like, people always asking for they want their old CM Punk back, but be careful what you wish for, because when you get him, you might not like him. And I always laugh at that, like looking back now, like with hindsight. Like, of course, back then, but I really wasn't thinking about it. Like when he was saying, I was just like, he promoing it up. You know what I'm saying? He get talking his trash. But like when you look back at it in hindsight, it's kind of just funny to think about that comment. He said, I'm just repeating. He said, if people keep asking for that old CM Punk, well, be careful what you wish for, because when you get him, you might not like him. And we got that old CM Punk, brother, and I don't think too many people was a fan of what that man did with it. Transfer he with the comment. Thank you for the comment. He said Punk spoke very highly of WWE and H during his acceptance speech. So bring me back out, Nate. I love these parts right here. Bring me back out, Nate. This man said, so shout out to him for that comment. CM Punk accepted his award at the Cauliflower Alley Club. Mm-hmm, dude, he was like speaking very highly of WWE and Triple H, and like he was like, I think he called WWE like the pinnacle of his career. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like again, bro, like the idea of him going back does not seem crazy. Like it does not seem crazy at all. Like, can you imagine two years ago thinking about the idea of Punk going back? It seemed like the most reckless. It's like he's not going back.
Right.
What we at now in present day, and like the thing I know that's going to happen is, CM Punk. See, this is the thing about the last 2 years. He done said so many like clippable things, like about his the whole I left wrestling and after I left Ring of Honor and then I came back in 2021 and then the whole thing about going to the company and wrestling on a 2-day whatever. The thing that he said to MJF about thinking the grass is green on the other side, and you got all these comments and stuff like all that stuff is going to surface back. But like to Chris's point, it's so funny, bro, because I think that even with all the things that he said about the company over the last several years, if he goes back, nobody's gonna care about that.
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
Nope.
He's one of those guys that's just like, and it's like that with everyone. Like Cody was getting booed on his way out of AEW. And anytime you get a fresh coat of paint, people are gonna look at you differently than they looked at you before, especially
if you're a star.
And CM Punk, there's so many like already built-in feuds he can have.
Oh my god, dog.
Kevin Owens, Kofi Kingston, like he could do.
I'm about to say, Chris, you know everybody thinking about the idea of him and Roman.
Like, him and Cody,
him and Seth. Remember when Seth called him out in the interview when he was like, you got that right there, bro. Like it's so many prospects, dog. Like it is, like, bro. See, I said this when I was on another part. I was like, bro, CM Punk is like one of the funniest wrestlers, dog. Because like I have never seen somebody that has been able to do the things that he's done, right, and maintain this level of like stardom over the like, and again. He literally just got let go from this company, just got fired. And he's literally back in the same position that he was even prior to joining AEW. It's the same speculation, the same excitement. And then like it just works out so perfectly for him that in 2 months, he's going to, like, Chicago is hosting Monday Night Raw, and then you got the whole thing with him visiting Monday Night Raw before Collision started. Like it's you good, Chris.
They could put him they could bring him to, they could start a faction with him, Jade, and like one of the NXT guys, and like have him do like some kind of hostile takeover. Like there's so much stuff you can do with him.
Chris and Nate, I actually want to ask both of y'all this. Do y'all think, and Chris, I'm gonna go to you first, and then Nate, you follow up. I wanted to get y'all thoughts on this. Do y'all think that just because of like the potential of there being an issue with Punk being a WWE amongst strictly talent, do you think it might be best suited to keep him on like a Brock Lesnar schedule where we see him at the Rumble, Survivor Series, Mania, SummerSlam, and then you have him there like I guess like weeks at a time, and then like you have those gaps, so he's not like there every week, and then you can pop him in and pop him out, just to keep the peace, I guess. But like what do you guys sort of think about that idea?
I think they'll do. See, the thing with WWE when he goes back there, it's not going to be the same company that he left. It's now a corporation. And he could keep his, because he's not working for Vince McMahon. He could keep that. Could be that he kept his word. I'm never working for Vince McMahon again. And
working for Ari Emanuel now.
Yeah, he's working for Endeavor. So he's in a good. They can give him a limited schedule. I think they will negotiate whatever schedule, because the thing is that if they do this, this will be 2 AEW guys, 3, Jade, him, and Cody, that they've stolen. So it's no longer the one-way traffic kind of thing. So I think CM Punk is in a very enviable position to where they're gonna come to the table. I don't think they're gonna try any bullshit. I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, you're blackballed from the industry crap. I think they're gonna be like, what can we do to make you happy within reason? They're not gonna give
it's money to be made, bro.
Yeah,
it's money.
A lot of money,
bro.
And they're gonna be in Philadelphia next year. Like CM Punk's got history in that.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So I mean, there's so many stories that you could tell with this guy.
Bro, he got it so sweet.
He got it made. And I think, Andrew, I like the idea of having him on that kind of special
Part-time.
attraction schedule.
Yeah.
Because I think it keeps him fresh, because you don't want him to just kind of become a regular dude on the roster. But also, I look at CM Punk like we've all had this friend in our life. I'll just call this particular friend Ricky. Like, Ricky's cool, man. You have a good time every time Ricky's around. But let's say Ricky spends the week with you. By Wednesday, you tired of Ricky. You're like, Ricky, you gotta go, man. Don't you got a job or something, Ricky? Don't you got a wife, kids somewhere, Ricky? Get the hell out, Ricky. And I think the more time Punk spends around the locker room, the more
irritable.
Yes, he can be. So I think if we put him in these small doses, it not only keeps him fresh as a character, but keeps his spirit up as a person.
Keep the peace, bro. Keep the peace. Keep the peace, bro. Hey,
keep the muffins and catering. Like, make sure
the catering budget for TKO about to skyrocket.
Oh my goodness, dog. Hey, but it's so, like, before we get into the next,
when we thought we was done talking about this man, Andrew.
And bro, we're gonna be talking about him next month, or we're gonna be talking about him the month after
ever.
Hey, but so we got shit like. WWE is not tease Punk in any way, but Punk, of course, like we said several times, like he did the whole thing about 2 months for a free time before he gotta do whatever he gotta do next, right? If he doesn't show up at Survivor Series, do you think it would be in WWE's best interest to, in some way, say that this dude is not going to be there? Because, like, if you just let this thing linger,
right,
people are going to expect him at some point,
just like they did at that Rampage.
Just like they did it, but you agree?
I think with WWE, they would get away with it a little bit more.
Yeah, probably.
Of him not being there, because they just because that would just be, unless it just went crazy all over the sheets, like what happened with him going to AEW. I think that it would be a situation where people would want it, but I think if they do a good enough show in Chicago, that they'd be cool with him not being there. But I do think that if he doesn't show up at Survivor Series, he'll be there within, providing what kind of severance he signed with AEW, provided what kind of non-compete he's got. I think he'll. I'm
about to say, Chris, maybe that's what he meant by the next 2 months, like non-compete, the time period. Maybe that's what he meant.
Yeah, because what happens when you're not a independent contractor, they can only let you do. 90 days is the most they can, like, say you can't go somewhere else, and that was one reason was because of Brock Lesnar. When they tried to say Brock Lesnar, when he left WWE, couldn't wrestle anywhere for like 6 months or something, and Brock Lesnar sued them, and they got it like down to 3 months or whatever, if I remember the story correctly. With CM Punk, the employee contract is the one that you got to watch for, because when you sign an employee contract, those are a lot more, like, even with me, like, I can't like quit a job, or I can't get severance from my job, like, and talk shit about that job.
Right.
It wouldn't work like that, because then I'm in all kinds of legal issues and stuff. And I think CM Punk is in that same kind of situation where he can be colorful with his comments, but he can't be like FTK and F this person and that, he can't do that shit. The WWE, he was able to do that with WWE because he was never an employee of WWE. He was an independent contractor, and when he left, he didn't sign any non-complete stuff. He just said, "Fuck you guys." And, that was the end of it. And also in that interview he did with Colt Cabana, he said these contracts and the contracts you sign in WWE aren't worth the paper that they're printed on. I can promise you that this contract that he's going to sign with TKO is going to be worth a little bit more than the paper it's printed on, because I'm sure they got all their lawyers.
Them boys ain't fucking around with him, bro.
Ari ain't playing on these streets.
Yeah, man. But yeah, see, I'm pretty sure y'all we gonna be talking about Punk for the next couple months here on the NWA podcast. It ain't never gonna stop, man.
Nope.
With that man, CM Punk. But moving on to the next topic, fellas. Feeling bad for that man, Cody Rhodes. Wayne "The Rock" Johnson confirmed past WrestleMania plans and teases appearing at WrestleMania 40. Fellas, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showed up on the Pat McAfee show on September 15th in Boulder, Colorado. Out there for that man, Deion Sanders. Shout out to
Coach
Deion,
Prime.
Man. Shout out to Coach Prime, man. He done turned that city out, man. That city of Boulder, Colorado.
Man. Never seen anything like that.
Hey, Kris, you see that man had Lil Wayne, he had Key Glock out there, he had all the folks out there.
One of the funniest tweets I saw last night was Kawhi Leonard was on the sideline, and somebody was like, somebody's like, Kawhi is at the Colorado game. He don't even go to his own game, but he at Deion's game.
Yeah. Hey, bro, the man had The Rock out there, but yeah, the Rock appeared on the Pat McAfee show. Offset out there, but bro, he had Chauncey Billups out there, Kyle Lowry. Dude,
I don't want to get in trouble with the Boulder, Colorado. What do you call it, Kris? Like the board that's in charge of like hospitality and stuff.
They ain't never seen that many black folks in their life, boy.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, Andrew. The black population of Boulder has doubled probably since Coach Prime been in town.
I'm telling you, though, like them folks was like the change, like in all seriousness though, like bro, the change the impact that he's had on the culture there, just from bringing more black people and just bringing more of our culture to that city of Boulder, dog. Like he's like literally changing. And then on top of that, bro, when you got a coach like Deion who has done it all, like dude, this dude literally has won. He won a championship, did he?
Yeah, I think he's won 2 Super Bowls.
Two Super Bowl championships. Yeah, he won 2 Super Bowls. Yeah. He won a couple Super Bowls.
I think, and he won a ring with the Braves. So he's got championships in 2 sports.
When you have somebody like and it ain't no slack. I know that man Nick Saban probably having a life crisis right now. Thinking he ain't got them boys getting paid. He probably like this is bullshit right here. But the transfer portal is going crazy. But like having somebody like Deion Sanders who has had elite success in this field of pro football and has transferred that success to another field in Major League Baseball. And to have somebody like that coaching these individuals, then on top of that, you got this dude who's a prominent figure with his 2 sons, a black man at that, with his 2 sons on this football team, who are also, has a positive image of themselves in the public and stuff like that. And then has this father who has kept up his reputation as well. From what I know about Deion, if it's something I don't know about him, then excuse me if I don't know. But it's just real cool to see, bro, like Deion doing this thing and like seeing him being like sort of a game changer for college football. But yeah, just besides all that, we're gonna get into and shout out to T Anthony for the $5.
Yeah, I agree with you on this, T Anthony. I think that I'm not sure if they're gonna be open to paying Living Color.
Yeah, Living Color for the cause personality.
To me, let's take a pause for the cause here, fellas, because we talked for months about who was at fault, who was wrong, who was right. I think there was one blameless victim in this whole AEW Tony Khan CM Punk situation, and that's the Good Brothers from Living Color. They ain't never hurt nobody. They ain't talk bad about nobody, and now you got to mess up their bag, man. They ain't getting the residuals no more.
When you're someone it goes back to the Will Smith thing. When you're someone like a Will Smith, when you're someone like a CM Punk, you got so many people eating off of just you. You know what I'm saying? That you doing something.
That's why Ace Steel was ready to bite all the time. He been eating good.
Yeah, it could mess up the bag for everybody. Like that. Like when you look at Will Smith, he's got like a zillion motherfuckers eating off of his name. Production company, the Peacock show, movies that he produces, Overbrook Entertainment, all that. CM Punk, from a wrestler standpoint, he's kind of not as quite as Will Smith.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, he's got like
Bro, I have never heard another Living Color song other than Cult Personality.
Living Color got some good songs though.
They got some good songs.
They got some good songs. Look, I'll send you some after the show, Andrew. Glamour Boy, Kris, that's a good one.
Glamour Boy, he's got the one. I forgot, but the video for it is real good where they go back and it's like they were way ahead of their time. You know, that's kind of like those dudes are the real deal. They belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes,
that's cool. That's what's up. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, that you want to know? I had recently just saw a comment from somebody. I think it was one of the old execs at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He had said something about like black people or something like that.
Yeah, black people and women.
Some shit, some stupid shit.
He
that
got
he said.
fired. He's dumbass.
Stupid ass motherfucker. Like I remember I saw Jericho's man on Twitter because I think Missy Elliott or somebody got in the Rock and so she got in the Hall of Fame. I was like, Jericho showing his ass again. Look at him.
Yeah. He just man Fozzy ain't never getting in.
Never.
And that's the thing. It's like you get like all of that rock and roll shit stems from black music.
Talk to him, Kris.
All of it.
Exactly.
All of it.
Talk to him, Kris.
So when you're getting mad at LL Cool J for being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or getting mad at Missy Elliott for being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like rock and roll used to be Little Richard, Chubby Checker, like
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry.
Where you think the Beatles got all they stuff from? They got it from old black rock and roll.
And then white boys took it and they turned it into like the alternative movement, the grunge movement, the hair band music, all that stuff. There's nothing wrong. All of it is rock and roll. You can't say that they don't belong in that Hall of Fame because y'all are because all that
Better laugh killing me, bro. Laugh killing me. But okay, so just get us back on topic, man.
That was a good tangent.
That was a good tangent.
Elvis Presley, all of his style,
all of it
from black soul singers, man. Don't get it twisted.
Pat Boone, he was just
Pat Boone,
taking black songs.
Andrew, I'm gonna tell you, and this has nothing to do with wrestling, but one of the funniest things I've ever seen was like if you look at Little Richard, the song Tutti Frutti, you know how the Tutti Frutti goes, right? But then you look at the Pat Boone version that he made, the cover version. He's just like Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy, a Tutti Frutti, and it's genius music. It sold because it was a white man singing this soul music in his white way. And that's why Little Richard is mad. Like every interview you see with Little Richard, he's like, everybody stole from me. Pat Boone, Johnny B. Bad, everybody stole from Little Richard.
This song came out in 56. Tutti Frutti by Pat Boone.
Yeah.
This motherfucker right here. I see an interview. It's an interview right here. I'm going to look at that later. He said something about Little Richard. I'm going to check that out. But going back to get us back on the
that was a wild tangent.
Thanks for the super chat, Anthony.
We got thanks for the super chat, bro. He said just to read his comment, he said that he wanted the idea of CM Punk using the cause of personality again. That would be cool. I mean, the Five Burns, that'd be a nice touch.
That's how we got on that tangent.
Yeah, that's how we got on that. But Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Dwayne the Rock Johnson appeared on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, and this man dropped a bombshell on the wrestling world. This man said that he confirmed that he was supposed to face Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania 39 at SoFi Stadium, of course, which is where Cody Rhodes took on Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal title. But this is the thing. The Rock said that those plans were locked in as early 2022. So this was an idea almost a full year before that was locked in.
Real quick, Andrew, I'm gonna pause it for a second. I want to address this comment. Yes, everybody is welcome at the NWA podcast, man.
There you go.
Except for Terry Bollea.
Yeah, except for Terry. Terry going somewhere. But those ideas was first discussed in early 2022, and he said things did not pan out, but he is open for WrestleMania 40, and then literally that same day, hours later, little did we know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson made his triumphant return to WWE. Thunderous ovation, media coverage out the ass, like from outlets, crazy. But my damn uncle who ain't watched wrestling, and I don't know how long. This dude used to take me to so many wrestling shows, dog. He texted me and was like, The Rock back. And he asked me if I wanted to go to Monday Night Raw in November because he trying to get back in it. But I'm like, dude, The Rock, like his like, bro, he is like one, like it's not even like, bro, he is one of the biggest stars that I've ever seen, like in my life. Like Dude, when they cut to that camera shot of like when people heard that, if you smell, bro, did you see the way bro, motherfuckers almost blew out their ACLs trying to get out their seat. but bro, when they heard that, like just the opening
out here looking like Aaron Rodgers,
bro. Damn, Nate,
get well, brother. Get well, brother.
Hey, bro, did you see that he talking about he thinking he will come back in January? It's no fucking way.
No, ain't enough medicinal herbs in the world.
It's no way, dog. But like, okay, so get back on the rock. Like, so he came back to WWE and he had the segment with Austin Theory and Pat McAfee. Nate, I want to kick it over to you first, and then Kris, you add on that we can just get into it or whatever. So first of all, tell me about your thoughts about the reaction that he got, the big ovation. Him dropping that bombshell about the plans for WrestleMania 39 being locked in, and him being open for WrestleMania 40.
Right.
And we all assume that WrestleMania 40 is going. No, but even on Chris's prediction, but like we all assume that WrestleMania 40 was going to be Roman Cody too. But now that you got The Rock in play, you would assume that he definitely gets priority over Cody without question. So, like, Nate, I just want to ask you, like, what you think about all of that in a nutshell? You could just sort of start from the bombshell on the ESPN show, and then his return, and then how does that affect brother Devontae? And he might be working Cody might be on the 4th or 5th match. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but he might not be in the main event.
Yeah, I decided to go full screen for this one, nephew, because I need to talk to the people.
Yeah,
because this is a very tough situation that I'm placed in right now. Because
Rocky might be a picture show.
On one hand, you have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the greatest wrestler of our generation, the greatest wrestling thespian of our generation. I say it. You can check out the archives of the Rocky might be a picture show right here on Post Wrestling. And in all seriousness, nephew, to me, The Rock is at the top of the mountain. Like he's on the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. Like no shade to Stone Cold or Nature Boy Ric Flair. Anybody like that. To me, The Rock is the guy. The Rock is the GOAT.
I grew up on that man, bro.
And so I got The Rock on one side. Then on the other side, we got this brother Cody Devontae Rhodes, who's had to work twice as hard, Kris, to get half as much.
Yeah.
Who's had to write his story over and over and over again when the story should have been finished.
Definitely should have been finished.
And so I've got two thoughts about this. Number one, damn you, writer's strike, because if it wasn't a writer's strike, we wouldn't be in this situation because Rock would be at his day job. Yeah. And number two, I do think like it leads to Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. Now, there is a way, because we got to stay positive. That's all we have sometimes as a people, Andrew. There is a way for Cody to finish his story and for Rock to have his moment. Because I don't think The Rock is walking out of WrestleMania as a champion. Like, he ain't going to be around long enough.
Yeah, he ain't going to be. Yeah.
So the question is, then how does Roman lose the belt? And I think Cody will beat Roman for the belt, but Rock will beat Roman for the title. Maybe more important, of the tribal chief. And so that's how I think you can get around it. It's gonna be tricky though, man, because but
it's so tricky though. Like, because
I feel like they put Cody in a bad spot because it's like,
he is in the worst. Like, dude, right? Like, it's like for it's not even like they did it to him. The Rock is
Hollywood did it to him. Bob Iger did it to him.
Bro, I'm about to say, bro, and then on top of that, like. You can't have that. You got the outline of King Pepsi, man. You got the outline of CM Punk coming back. Like it's the idea of him coming back.
Who knows? Batista might come back. We already seen Cena.
Batista.
Dave Batista might come and show up somewhere, man. But like, dude, Cody is like in the weirdest position. And one would think that maybe they'll just continue on with the plans, but it's just hard to believe that with The Rock in the picture, it doesn't. So things aren't getting altered. Like, I mean, shout out to T. Anthony for the super chat at $2. He said WrestleMania 2 night story ends night 1. But see, the thing is, bro, with Roman wrestling 2 nights, I think for me personally, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me personally, it sort of takes away like sort of the aura a little bit. Right. Like if he loses night 1 and then he goes in the night, it's like I think honestly the best bet, like you just might have to speed up Cody
Cody wins at the Rumble.
Cody wins the fucking Survivor Series. You know what I'm saying? Look, bro. Let me just be real. This bloodline shit is like it's getting, you know, it's getting dragged. It's ran its course. Like, look, the good thing about it is Jey Uso is over his head as a singles talent, so you got something out of this. You know what I'm saying? You got something. Comment,
Andrew.
But Cody did it to himself once he broke that throne. Somebody's still mad. Shout out to the Lords for the comment. But like, just to wrap up before we we kick it over to Kris and his points. Like, it's so crazy to see like this position. Like, he's like in the weirdest position, dog. Because like you would think that, you know, again, like I said, you would think that the plan would be to continue on as things are, because it seems like all signs are pointing towards him and Roman running it back at Philly, right? But like you got Dwayne Johnson talking about, hey, I'm open for WrestleMania 40. Like the moment he said that, I remember I was covering it for Post. The moment he said that, I was like, oh, well, Cody fucked. Well, boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, he might still win the title. I do think that he might still win the title, but I definitely think when you throw The Rock into the fray, they're going to prioritize his story over Cody's story. And I think that Cody just might have to get his shit pushed up a little bit. Like how Nate said, the Rumble, you might even do it in 2 months of Survivor Series. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't want to see, Andrew, is I don't want to see, if Cody is to win the title before we get to Rock Roman at Mania, I don't want it to be a situation where Cody wins because of The Rock's involvement. Because to me, that undercuts Cody's story. Like that.
Bro, and then on top of that, I don't want to see no him wrestling Roman on night 2 after, like, you know, or night 1. I don't want to see that shit, bro. I want to see these things spread apart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but again, like, I'm pretty sure Kris about to touch on, The Rock is getting priority in this shit some way, somehow. This man is not taking the back seat. That's just not happening. But we'll kick it over to Kris. Let him get his stuff off.
Yeah, sorry about the internet's not stable tonight, but yeah, man.
No, you all good, Kris. We get see you and hear you all good.
All right, cool. So, yeah, it sucks for Cody, but here's the thing, and I saw Brandy.
You know what, Kris? You know what? We're not gonna start off on that disrespectful tone, sir.
Oh no, we're because I'm not. It's not an indictment on Cody.
It's not.
What Cody should have been. WWE did fuck Cody over. He should have won at this year's WrestleMania.
Yes, it should have been.
It was
over.
that simple. This story was told, and it should have been done. They had an end date for it, and they prolonged it. And then what happened when they prolonged it? The Rock's schedule became open because there's a writer's strike. And now The Rock, like, you cannot look at what the
They stopping my good brother before the. Hey, Kris.
Cody.
Hey, Kris. Rewind your point when you were talking about The Rock. You had paused for a little bit. You said something about The Rock, and then you paused out.
Oh yeah. I was saying that The Rock is he's the guy that's like, no one's getting that reaction.
Yeah.
On WWE, it's just not happening. Like, you can't look at that reaction and make us and say, oh, Cody should be main event WrestleMania over The Rock. That is just not realistic, man. And it's like, and I agree with everything Nate said. I don't like this for Cody, but at the same time, what are you gonna do? They did this to this. They did that to this brother, man. I feel so bad for him because he once they thought they were getting Rock at WrestleMania in LA and Rock couldn't do it. Cody should have been the guy.
Yeah.
That simple. Yeah. Like they overthought this shit.
Yep. Hey, speaking of The Rock, Chris's connection is a little rocky.
But the internet ain't that. You back, Kris? You back, Kris?
Yeah, it's the internet's messing up. I'm gonna try.
You all good, but you only in and out for like a couple seconds, but you back now. Hey, Nate, bring him out. Like, bring him out to the. Yeah, there you go. Let him go like that.
Yeah, like the story, that story ain't getting finished, Cody. It just ain't, man. Like, you got to tell a different story with them. Maybe have him beat for the secondary world title. Do something, I don't know, because the problem with it, when you do shit like this, what happens is other guys get over. NWE, this is happening because now LA Knight is over. Jay Uso is over.
Yeah.
CM Punk is about to come back. like you have to strike while the iron is hot. You know, these opportunities don't just stay around. You know, that's what
Kris, especially a full year from the point when it should have ended.
Yeah, exactly. Anything can happen in a year, man. Like anything can happen in a year, and that's
like CM Punk becoming a free agent.
Yeah, CM Punk becoming a free agent,
and a writer strike happening, which leads to one of your biggest stars of all time.
Yeah,
deciding that he want to come back.
Yeah, like so many different things can happen, and now you're in this situation. I feel bad for Brandy, but you can't blame The Rock for this, Brandy. You just can't. Like what's The Rock?
Oh, you think you Black Adam? Well, I'm a black.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, but nah, bro. It is like how Kris said, bro. Like I think he hit it on the head. It's just, but it's just unfortunate for Cody.
Yeah.
Like it's unfortunate because again, but everybody, I think most of the people that I know in the wrestling space thought that Cody should have won at Mania 39. Like it was just so like ready made, like and set. And then on top of that, a lot of people were saying, dude, if you were going to go into a program with Brock Lesnar for 3 months, what better way to do that than to have the World Heavyweight Championship or the Undisputed title, like with that, like that being the main thing for the feud? Because like Brock just started beating the shit out of Cody for nothing anyway. So if he'd won the title, at least you would have gave him some type of reasoning for going after Cody. He just motherfucker, I just want the title back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that simple.
And I've been a part of those crowds, those where The Rock makes a surprise return. And nobody's expecting it coming. I've been a part of a crowd like that where The Rock is just all of a sudden everybody in the arena loses their shit.
Exactly.
It is like the closest thing to a Michael Jackson concert for wrestling as it gets. You know, like if you ever look at the old clips of Michael Jackson concerts,
you got grown people
just fainting in the audience and stuff like that.
They about to fight a security guard trying to get on stage.
Like that's exactly. You're right. Like that's The Rock, man. It's like
it is.
He the GOAT.
Nobody,
Chris, do you remember when he came back to help Eugene and nobody knew he was coming back, and then like you can see people like walking to the concourse area, and then when they heard that, if you smell, you see
like
people like running.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Crazy, dog. Like I'm talking about, dude, no exaggeration. You can literally see people running back when they heard the if you smell. But and then like I'm pretty sure like Kris was going to mention, dude, you got so many of these mainstream outlets that is covering The Rock going back to the company. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude,
what they can do with this situation is they can use The Rock star power, which is what they didn't do in 2011. They had The Miz involved. The less said about that shit, the better. But you got LA Knight there. You got Bobby Lashley there. You got Cody Rhodes there. You got the guys that are still in their 20s there that you could kind of use to get that Rock rub, and maybe off of The Rock they can turn into the crossover star that The Rock is. Like maybe this is Cody is on the brink of becoming a crossover star. He's not quite yet, but I think if you play your cards right with him, even if you don't get a Rock with Cody Rhodes, you could get a Batista with Cody Rhodes.
That'd be a hell of a tag too. Rock and Cody against Solo and Roman.
Yeah. You got things there. And I don't care what anybody says. In wrestling, 40 is not old. You can use LA Knight and Cody Rhodes and get a good 10 years out of both of them, and then just push other guys because the thing is, the good thing that they got going for them, unlike with the goddamn Miz in 2011, I'm still anytime I talk about that, I get
never gonna let it go.
That man Mike Mazan and catching strays in these podcasts.
Never,
right. That's your homeboy. He hang out in LA, don't he?
Yeah. Probably. I thought he moved to Austin, Texas.
Then he moved back to LA. I think so.
I don't know or care, but anyway, like the difference between that time and now, though, is you got guys who have organically gotten over. that the company had nothing to do with. LA Knight, Cody Rhodes. You can, if I'm The Rock, I'm saying, yo, let me do something with LA Knight. Let me do something with Cody Rhodes to elevate these guys that are there.
Hey, DJ, I got a great idea. Why don't you work with this kid, Austin Theory?
Yeah. You having this guy working with the goddamn fucking Miz. That's not gonna do anything for anybody.
Miz ain't do nothing to you, Kris.
He did. Hell, he's done something to me for at least the last since he's debuted, man. Like I'm over here. I'm having arguments. In the year I stopped taking the PWI 500 seriously in 2000, and I think we had this conversation in 2011, where they put the Miz at number 1. Like, come on, man. Like, but that was then. That's water under the bridge. You've got a company now that is on the brink. So many good wrestlers who can come up. You know, so much talent there, man. So much talent that you be stupid not to be able to take advantage of John Cena's star power, or the Rock star power. You know?
I say with Cena, like I'm thinking about like him, like he had the confrontation with Solo Sikoa,
right,
bro. Solo posted something on Instagram. He posted he went face to face with Cena on SmackDown. Below that, he posted an image of Cena going face to face with Umaga. Yeah, and like, dude, it's so like, and I saw a lot of people thinking they should do like a last man standing match to like pay at this year's at the next 2024 Royal Rumble to pay tribute to the what's that 2006 when Cena and Umaga had that Royal Rumble.
I'll say this:
he said Miz overrated.
Yeah, Miz is like beyond overrated, but yeah, thank you for the chat. What was I gonna say? What I would do with the John Cena and Solo Sikoa, and this might sound crazy, but hear me out. I would do a double turn with them. I'd have Cena beat Solo Sikoa, and finally, you do not need Cena as a face anymore. Have Cena turn into a heel and see what kind of mileage you can get out of him as a bad guy, and turn Solo into a good guy. And see what happens from that. Because the old argument for Cena never turning into a bad guy doesn't exist anymore. Cena is a part-timer, you know? Cena is a movie star. He's not The Rock, but he still has a respectable...
Cena out there, he out there, bro.
Yeah, he's got a respectable career. I always laugh when I talk, because I remember back in the day when Cena was like, I'm never going to leave. And I was like, nigga... If Hollywood comes calling you with them checks, no, but any wrestler who's got the choice of being a wrestler or being an A-list movie star, it ain't even a choice. It's, like, unless you're like Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan will pick being a wrestler.
Yeah, Daniel said he wrestles to the core. He wrestles to the core. Ain't no other way with him.
But if you have like a desire to be a star, you're gonna take the money that Hollywood's offering you. Yeah, but I think that there's so much you could do. This is a very good time to be a wrestling fan right now. This is a very good time to be a WWE fan right now, because there's so many different possibilities with having The Rock back, and even Batista considering coming back. Because the SAG strike has been going on for so long, and it might not even be up before the end of the year. So if these guys are willing to come back and do something for your company, you got to let them do it, man.
And you got to do it by making sure that your hot talents who are over as hell right now get more over by being affiliated with these individuals. Because that is the smart thing to do, and take the young key talents that you are focused on going into the future and try to use the star power from these certain individuals to boost up them for when they leave. So it's the smart thing to do. So
and I think Cena would move a ton of merch as a heel too. I do. I don't think the same arguments exist for him as a and I think he can help Austin because Austin Theory needs the help. I think
so real quick on Austin Theory. See, this is the thing. I think that he is good in these spots when he's with certain individuals, like a Dwayne Johnson, like a John Cena. He does really, really well in these scenarios, like similar to Grayson Waller. Like when they're in these scenarios where you put them in position to where like they can work with like a legend of the past, they do really, really well. See, the thing about Theory is when he's not in these positions, nobody really cares. At all. That's, you know what I'm saying? Nobody cares. But like when he but see that segment with The Rock, he handled himself really well, even though, you know, he got the beat down and all that. He didn't look too bad. You know what I'm saying? He held his own on the mic. You know, he got clowned and stuff like that, but he still got his little jabs in, and he threw the first punch with The Rock and initiated the contact. You know what I'm saying? Like he looked good coming out of that. It didn't look bad. But like the thing is, once that is over, Theory's like right back in the same spot and nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? So you got to find a way to sort of transition that a little bit. So,
and that's why I think you could do something with Cena in Theory, where Cena like turns into a bad guy and co-signs on. Yeah.
You go, Chris. I was about to say you made a different point, but I was about to say they tried it. Man, they're 30 man.
You turned him into a bad guy, and then you have Cena co-sign on Theory and being like, this kid beat me at WrestleMania, and get some heat on him. Theory is lame. I'm just being honest with you. His character is not good. It is one-dimensional. Like Andrew just said, he is good when he's with the right people. By himself, it is just not hitting right now.
No.
You
not hitting in New York.
Yeah. You can't keep telling us he's the next in line, and every time he's on TV, he gets embarrassed and looks stupid. You know,
we don't believe you. You need more people.
Exactly, and nobody is vouching for him. Like CM Punk, John Cena's gone on shoot interviews and said and talked about how lame he is in the shoot interviews. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about how lame he is on scripted wrestling, and then on shoot interviews where he's being interviewed by outside media people like Sam Roberts, he's like, "Oh yeah, I meant every word of that. I do not believe you. You are whack." You know, like this.
But telling somebody that you don't believe in them is like much less worse than like. This was said. Well, he said, "I don't even think you believe in you."
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That's at that point. We probably would have been fighting, bro.
Right. Time to turn into Phil Brooks.
Right. Yeah, because it's like an active burial, man. It's like
the best time to turn into Phil Brooks.
Yeah, like it would have just been much better. Like Theory would have just been better off if he had just lost the seat at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
And he was able to move on
Chris,
from that.
Hey Chris, to your point, like, and I know we on a different topic. We on a different topic, but like just the serious. I think that it would have benefited him more to lose to Cena. And it's so crazy because I remember Cena even said that in the promo. He was like, dude, you beat me, you gain nothing. I beat you, you lose everything, or you gain nothing. And I kind of felt the same way about Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton. Like, okay, look, Tiffany Stratton get the win, right? She beat Becky Lynch. What in the fuck did she do after that?
Nothing,
you just
nothing at all.
Beat one of the biggest stars in the company. Okay, and then what you just go back to Wrestling Tuesdays with NXT after that and continue being NXT Women's Champion. Now that Becky Lynch has the title, you give more like lead room and more work room for Tiffany Stratton to sort of, I guess, maybe alter her character, or maybe have a different vendetta, or maybe have a different agenda. She's already appeared on the main roster TVs already. She's working house shows now on the main roster, doing the live events. You have more wiggle room for Stratton now. Like, it's like if she'd just beat Becky Lynch, then Becky would have gone back to the main roster and kept doing her thing, and then Tiffany would have been stuck in NXT. And it's like, dude, you just beat she one of the first 3 females to main event WrestleMania, one of the biggest stars in the company. And now you back on Tuesday night wrestling at the Performance Center. You know what I'm saying? But now that she's not the champion, like there's more to do. So like even comparing that to Cena and Theory, I think it would have benefited Theory to sort of be on the chase a little bit. Yeah. Like, you know, but again, you know, seeing the actor and stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying? So you don't never know how like shit like that turns out, but still, I still think it would have been better. And I know Kris was sort of the similar thinking. It would have just been better for him if he would have never beat Cena. Because look, you beat John Cena at WrestleMania and then nobody gave a shit.
Yeah. And months later, nobody still cares.
Nobody still cares.
Yeah, it's like
almost like it didn't even happen.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and if you ask a casual about that, you can ask a wrestling fan about that, and they probably already forgot about it. You know?
Bro, the biggest thing about that match was Cena having the interest with the Make-A-Wish kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing about that match, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was a good discussion, fellas. I got one more that I wanted to talk about. It was something that we could touch on towards the end. I definitely want to make sure I say that part for the end, but I did want to touch on the merger, official merger of WWE and UFC to form TKO Group Holdings. Everything was finalized on September 12th. You know, they had the big announcement outside the New York Stock Exchange. Triple H was there, Vince McMahon, Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro, Nick Khan, Dana White. Bianca Belair, Montez Ford were present, man. I saw that, bro. I mean, just on Bianca, I wasn't like surprised to like see her there, but she's like literally one of the biggest stars in the company, like probably number 2 or number 3, however you look at it. I definitely think she's number 2. Like they had her fucking do that C4 energy entrance at SummerSlam, and they put the women's title on her before EO cashed in just to say that Bianca had it. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, Bianca, like she's like slowly, like not even slowly, she is becoming like that sort of like female Cena, like in a way, like in terms of how she's booked. Like she's this whole like underdog story, that shit is done. Like Bianca is the person now. You know what I'm saying? She's the person, and she earned that shit. So when I saw her at the thing, I wasn't like, oh, Bianca's there. I was like, oh yeah, Bianca's there. Like, cause why wouldn't she be there? You know what I'm saying? Then her husband, who's on feature regularly,
and do-rag Vince.
Bro, did you see that stupid ass edit, bro? I remember I saw that. I was like, duh. Like, I mean, at first I was just like, whatever, you know, people. But like, I kept seeing it from the same account that kept posting that shit. I was like, all right, but you started getting on my nerves a little bit.
Right.
This do-rag Vince shit. I'm like, okay, but whatever. But besides that, unfortunately, you know, coming out of that with the merger, you know, a lot of individuals had lost their jobs, a lot of cost-cutting measures, and staff people from WWE lost their the jobs from the marketing departments and from different departments and stuff like that. Kris, I just wanted to, kick it over to you first about this. You know, of course, this happens a lot when, you have mergers like this. People unfortunately lose their jobs, but I just wanted to get your thoughts about, like, it was an abundance of people from varying departments, that unfortunately lost their position. Some of these people, they went on LinkedIn and, spoke about their time with the company and, said they're open for work now and stuff like that. So just want to get your thoughts about the merger. And even the sort of the media that came out of it, Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro won. I think it was Squawk on the Street, CNBC, they were on that, and fucking Bill Simmons still thought Tesla's alive. And Bill Simmons. But that shit. Yeah. But Kris, I'm gonna kick it. Also, Kris, I wanted to like just get your thoughts about that in general, and also what you think about the prospect, Nick Khan saying that a TKO All-Star Weekend where we have a UFC event and then we have a WWE event the following day, and like having people from both of those fan bases sort of mix into the same city, or maybe WWE hosts an international event and UFC is in the States, or vice versa. Just sort of what you think about the whole TKO merger and all of that. People unfortunately being laid off. Touch on all that. Yeah.
So I've been a part of mergers before, from a business psychology point of view, where you have to talk to people and let them know what's going on and get their opinions and all that stuff. It's never a great thing because WWE is not the same company anymore. You have a lot of questions because you really don't even know how long Vince is going to hold on to power before he's ousted and whatnot. You can make guesses and you can say, well, they didn't do anything to Dana White, so maybe Vince is intact. You don't know anything until you see this in action right now. I don't think any of those WWE Legends contracts are getting honored. I think they're the next to go because that's what Endeavor did to UFC, where they had these old
the legend.
And I think those legends are gonna go.
The Dudley Boys just signed one.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah. You said it, not me, but yeah. I don't think that Legends deal is long for this world. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't think it is. The fact that they fired Dana Warrior, I still don't know what she did, but the Endeavor people probably didn't know what she did either and gave her the boot. And they're doing that with certain, if they see a position is not fulfilling their bottom line, or a position they seem is not, they deem is not necessary,
or it's redundant.
Or redundant. This is the kind of thing you can expect. And I think this is going to go. I do think the talent is safe for a little while. I'm more concerned about the corporate side of things. The Legends contracts, all that stuff is what I'm the most concerned about. And I think I do think if done right, this could be made for a robust wrestling industry. They're still going to do their deals with Saudi Arabia. And I don't even know exactly what to say about those things anymore, because the problem with saying we're in a country that's actually thinking about, enough people in this country are thinking about electing Donald Trump again. So it's really hard to pass judgment on these companies doing business with Saudi Arabia.
Maybe Trump gets a Legends deal.
Trump is going to get a Legends deal, you know. But when so many bad things,
that way he'd be able to buy some fucking commissary. They throw his ass in the pen.
We'll put something on your books, Donald.
Get them honey buns.
So we're
I bet Donald Trump will make a mean swole in the joint.
Right, But
you're gonna use those Cheetos, my friend?
Yeah, just Cheetos, those ramen. You know, make yourself a nice little spread with the ramen, the Cheetos, and the pickles. You have to be in this, and you have to be in jail and know what we talking about.
Motherfucking prune juice. There you go. Donald Trump, and he's selling the prune. Enough of the jail. Hey, Kris, go ahead and continue your point.
No, that's all I'm saying is I just
Donald
don't
Trump
know.
in prison and shit.
Yeah, I don't know what this company is going to be now. No, I do think the deal with Saudi Arabia is going to get stronger as a result of this merger. I think that again, the Legends deals, the stuff that they see that's not
Pruno, my bad. Pruno, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, but go ahead, Kris, my bad.
No, that's it. The things that they see that are not necessary, they're going to get rid of. And that's the easiest way I can say it.
Yeah, but Kris, when you first heard of the merger, even before it was officially finalized, you weren't necessarily surprised about the cost cutting measures and people.
Yeah, that's just the thing with mergers. Like, I was a part of a company, because they're calling it a merger. It's a buyout, you know. It's you can call it a
transaction might be the better word for it.
Right, transaction, whatever. It's like, and what usually with these mergers, unless it makes sense, you do always default to one brand. So like when the Carl's Jr. people bought Hardee's, they over on the East, it's still Hardee's. They just added the star logo. In the West Coast, it still Carl's Jr. because it's just better brand recognition. But like when when T-Mobile bought Sprint or merged with Sprint or whatever, where is Sprint now? You know, it's like they don't exist. And I think that the WWE is still going to exist, but it's just not going to exist in the same way that we are used to, you know. And they're going to want WWE to turn into a cash cow that is always like giving them money, you know. So they're going to do a deep dive of that company. They are going to look at positions that they don't think are necessary, wrestlers that they think are dead weight, and they're going to do what they want to do with those guys, man. And I feel sorry for anybody that's working in that company, but that's just the reality of a corporate merger, of a buyout.
Yeah. Hey, Nate, I want to actually ask you, like, saying on that same topic, did you get a chance to see Dana White's reaction to UFC exec Lawrence Epstein? He had an interview with ESPN. He said he wants every WWE fan to be a UFC fan and every UFC fan to be a WWE fan. And Dana White said that is one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard in my life, and he doesn't think that's possible. They just to hear your point on it, like the idea that this dude, like, maybe he was just speaking because, like, the hype of the day and everything's happening, he's excited. But there's just no way that you think that every UFC fan is going to like the WWE, and even every WWE fan is going to like UFC. It's right, that's not plausible.
Yeah,
I think he got caught up in the moment, Andrew. But also
he was happy.
He was happy, but also I think there is some of that corporate thinking where it's like synergy. Like, we might not get 100% of the WWE fans or even 50%, but if we can get 25% or 15% of those WWE fans to come over to our side and vice versa, then everybody's making more money. And that's the bottom. To quote that man, Steve Austin, that's the bottom line, nephew, is they want to make money. And so when I look at the merger, when I look at the acquisition, when I look at the transaction, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because obviously you don't want to see people lose their jobs, especially people that have been with the WWE for a little minute. Like, it's sad, but also there's a lot of opportunity. When you talk about TKO, and
I'm about to say, Nate, even to add to your point, the idea of an all-star weekend with a UFC
like, I
event.
think that's something, again, to use that 25% analogy, Andrew. Like, that's something where if we get this weekend where it's WWE the first night and UFC the second night, or vice versa, and all of those people aren't going to stay for both nights.
Yeah.
But if I can get 25% of those people to stay for both nights, we make it paper. We make it paper. And so I think we are going to see a little bit more integration. Like, we're not going to see Joe Rogan or Daniel Cormier show up on Raw every week.
Daniel Cormier, maybe.
Daniel Cormier would love that. I think he would love it. But I do think we're going to see more integration in terms of a brand, Kris.
I think what's going to happen is UFC wrestlers that aren't, or UFC fighters that aren't making the cut as fighters might get a chance.
Send the PC. WWE. That's a good call, Kris.
Remember back in the day when Ted Turner owned every goddamn thing on the planet, and he owned the Atlanta Hawks and El Gigante. Yeah. And El Gigante wasn't cutting it as a basketball player, so they sent that fool over to WCW in the hopes that he'd be salvageable as a wrestler. I could see some stuff like that happening with this new merger. They might say, okay, you're losing every fight, but maybe we could squeeze a personality out of you and have you be in WWE. And that's the thing too. Like, what about WWE Films? Is that even going to exist anymore? There's so many things that are left unanswered because they might feel that WWE Films is not necessary.
Yeah, that studios department.
WWE Studios. They might feel like
look at their partner and them Peacock and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It's like, like, you have to give a serious look at the PC in these situations too. Like, do they want to use the PC, or do they think going back to a model with like OVW or one of those like other like local
development, even the HWA and shit like that.
Or even like the Nightmare Factory. You know what I'm saying? They might look at the whole operation and look at
shit. They might be like, we might as well just go ahead and that might be the thing. Where can we cut the most costs at? Because
everything is going to be looked at as what is my return on investment.
And it's going to look at who in NXT where NXT helped him turn into a star, and who hasn't. And I think a lot of the women are gonna come out looking good on that.
Oh yeah.
The men are gonna be hit and miss, it's gonna be, and they're gonna look at all that shit, man.
But like when you talking about like the turnaround rate, especially for the women in NXT, but there's like so much promise.
Yeah.
Like for them, like when you look at the talent, like it, but I can see a lot of the talents in the women's division on NXT eventually making it to the main roster. Like, but even Roxanne Perez, I feel like she kind of spinning her wheels in NXT, bro. She's like 20, 21, 22,
right,
dude, and she's like, and then at that, she ain't no fucking rookie, bro. Roxanne been wrestling since she was like 15 years old, bro. You know what I'm saying? She about to be like a 10-year vet, like or something along those. Like she been wrestling a long ass time, so like she damn near 10-year vet already. So like you got people like her, people like Lara Vicaria, people like but honestly, I thought that Thompson Contraction would have been on the main roster by now.
Yeah,
Mandy Rose,
I was gonna say Gigi and Jason.
Gigi and Jason, they would have been on the main roster.
Too.
Yeah,
and how are you gonna explain to your corporate owners what NXT is? Is it a farm league? Or because they do have a deal on USA.
I was about to say, because they like if you just explaining that to somebody in corporate that doesn't really keep, they like, okay, so this is your developmental. So why is this?
Why is it on TV?
Why is it on USA Network?
And so what I could see them do it is being like.
So do you think that's why the decision, like putting the title on Becky Lynch, was made so it could be more, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even think about it from that point of view, but actually, now that you mentioned it, I think
you got Becky, you got Chris's boy Dom on these streets.
Right? Yeah, you're putting your stars on that show, and your like
the street profits popped up on NXT not too long ago.
Yeah, so I could see, I could see a scenario where they're like, okay, let's close down the PC, let's call this guy Al Snow. Let's see if he can turn these talents into wrestlers, and then just have 3 rosters on USA or wherever, Amazon, wherever they go to. But I can tell you this from my experience with mergers. Cost cutting is a very, very real thing. And you don't really see it coming until one day you're at home watching the news, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, Nextel doesn't exist anymore, or Sprint is now doesn't exist, Radio Shack is gone. It's like it happens, and then all of a sudden that's you start feeling the boom of that, man. So I definitely think that
I've had so many friends in the radio business, Kris, over the last 10, 15 years.
Shit, well, I'm about to say
lost jobs because of all these companies just merging.
ESPN made cuts recently.
Yo, ESPN cut a lot of people.
They cut a lot of people, bro. A lot of people.
Right. Yeah. So it's like once we're done with Q4 of this year, I can totally see something different by January. I don't think the changes are going to be immediately, but I do think they're coming. Like they've got how many commentary teams do they have for those premium live events?
So for premium live events, it's only Michael Cole and Corey. That's it.
Michael Cole, Corey, Peter Rosenberg comes in every once in a while.
You talking about for the kixoff?
Just all the stuff that they might deem as unnecessary. It's just what I'm just looking at it from that point of view of, because I don't think that they think I don't think they're going to immediately think the wrestlers are unnecessary. I'm looking at the people who already do jobs that other people could easily fulfill,
for cheaper.
Yeah, for cheaper, right? That's what I'm looking at. So this is a brave new world we live in, and we probably should have had Thurston to kind of talk about this a little bit, because I just don't see this.
There'll be time, Kris, because this story, as you said, it's not.
Yeah,
we're only at the beginning of this.
I think next month. It's gonna be every month is gonna be a story on releases.
Something happens.
So there'll be plenty of time to bring in our light skinned cousin Brandon to talk about the ramifications of all this.
Let's say But yeah, that was a good combo, man. The UFC WWE merger or transaction, however you want to refer to it. I think it's a lot of things will come up. Honestly, to your point, Kris, about this before we move on to this last thing about the PC, I think that especially at this point, I think that the PC. Of course, I'm not gonna say anything is safe, but I think that the PC is like in good standing because of you can always use the. Hey, Roman Reigns came out of the PC. Bianca Belair came out of the PC.
Yeah, but
these are the people that Big E came out of the PC. You know what I'm saying?
It depends on how deep of a it depends on how deep of a dive that they want to do. Because if they're gonna do a deep dive, then you're gonna say Roman Reigns didn't come out of the PC. He came out of FCW. Big E didn't come out of the PC. He came out of FCW. Why don't we go back to the FCW model? You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff that I'm going to be looking at. And I seriously do believe that there will be somebody in Endeavor that's going to look at this kind of shit. I think they're going to look at like, okay, what's the PC doing that FCW did not do? The women,
and you talking about that strictly just from like a cost cutting measure.
Yeah, from a cost cutting measure, just strictly from that.
Dollars and cents.
Just a dollars and cent thing. Because I don't know how much money it costs to run the PC every year. But I'm sure it's not no chump change.
And then you got them NIL deals too.
NIL deals, you got all kinds of different things. So I don't think, maybe not close down the PC, but restructuring of it. Because like when Time Warner brought out, when AOL bought out Time Warner, they just said fuck wrestling altogether, right? And they got rid of the power plant. They got rid of everything. Wrestle Vessel was no longer a thing.
Shout out to Wrestle Vessel.
Yeah. There was two of them. There was the Bruce Cruise.
Yes, the Bruce Cruise and Wrestle Vessel, which is wild. We had not one Andrew, but two nautical themed wrestling experiences.
Yeah, one of them was a WCW one, and the other one was WWE, and I don't know which one was which, but yeah, man. But
Wrestle Vessel sounds a little confining, though.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Cruise sounds fun. We're just gonna be on the cruise, man. Have some mimosas. People gonna start fighting. Phil Brooks in the building. Wrestle Vessel seems like tight.
Yeah. But like how deep of a dive are the William Morris Endeavor people are they gonna do in their investment? Because and again,
that man Nick Khan about to be out there playing defense like a motherfucker. He about to be like Olajuwon out there blocking it.
No. Matumbo in the building.
Yeah. Matumbo. But yeah, man. I definitely think it's gonna be one of those stories that's gonna continue. That we're gonna keep similar to Pepsi Phil. We're going to be talking about that, man, for the next couple of months. We're pretty sure we'll be talking about the after effects of this merger for a couple of months. But the last topic, I think, is very fitting that we touch on this. A couple of days after you guys recorded the last episode with our man, 30-Day Ray, Big Ray. Touch out to Ray, man. I hope Ray's still in the chat. A couple of days after that, unfortunately, I think we got some news. It was both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt had passed away within the span of a few days or a day with one another. So yeah, I just wanted to, you just go around and I guess share memories and stuff like that, but definitely wanted to send condolences to those individuals, families and close friends and their loved ones for their loss. I'm pretty sure that was a very, very devastating on both sides, and of course for the wrestling world as well. You lost two individuals who people think very highly of and regarded in a very, very high position in the cases of both Terry Funk and Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt. So yeah, just much love to those respective families, man. And I don't know how many people are like big faith people. Like I'm not the biggest one, but I do believe in high power, do believe in God and stuff like that. So I always believe that you aren't ever truly gone from this earth unless your name is done being spoken by the people who love you. So as long as those people keep speaking those individuals' names, you will live on forever. So I think that Terry and both Bray will continue to live on because they got so many people, family or not, that think very highly of them and had great relationship with them, who will be here for hopefully a very long time. So just wanted to, put that out there. So rest in peace to Wyndham and Terry Funk.
Yeah, I think, Andrew, you got kind of two very different emotions when you look at both of these men not being here anymore. I think when you look at Wyndham, it's, I remember in grade school, Kris, and I can't remember who wrote the poem, but there was a poem, John Updike, I think, wrote a poem called To the Athlete Dying Young. And it's like talks about the gut punch of losing somebody in their prime, who is on the come up, who's about to do big things in this world, who's already started to do big things in this world, and the void when they're not here anymore. And so, like, Wyndham, Bray Wyatt, like, this dude was a great performer. Like, he wasn't always put in the best positions by the company that he worked for, but you could tell dude had it and meant a lot to a lot of people, both the audience, but also his wrestling fans,
his colleagues, man.
Nobody had a bad word to say about this dude, and it's something like whenever somebody passes, like, people always say good things. They even said good things about Richard Nixon when he passed, but you can tell when it's a real, genuine connection that his coworkers had with him, and so it's really sad, Andrew. And the brother had more stories to tell. The brother had so much more to do.
Dog.
Yeah,
36.
Had so much more to do on this earth, and it's sad that we, as the audience and people that cover this sport, won't get to see him anymore. But it's even harder when you talk about a guy that is leaving behind a family and all the dreams and things that they had planned for, man. And it's really sad. And you send out all the love and thoughts, and if you're a praying person, you send out your prayers and that good energy to his family and the void that they're going to have that's going to be there forever. And so, we just want to send, all the love to that man, Wyndham Rotunda. When you look at Terry Funk, it's kind of on the other end of the spectrum, Andrew. Like, this is a dude that's been around for a minute. Like,
did it all, man.
Did it all. It's very rare, Kris, in life to have a second act. Terry Funk is the even rarer breed that had like a third, maybe even a fourth act in terms of the longevity of this dude's career. You're like, and here's the crazy thing, Andrew. I'm not going to say if not for Terry Funk, I wouldn't be here talking with y'all. But there's a chance, like the sliding doors effect, Kris. If one small thing changes in your life, does everything change? Like my mom, and I've talked about this on podcasts before. My mom grew up in Texas, was a huge wrestling fan, loved the Von Erichs. Like, she loved to hate the Funks. So like she passed that love of wrestling on to me. If my mother does not love the Funks so much, do I become a wrestling fan? Or if I do I become a wrestling fan in a different way? And so, Terry Funk is somebody who just, man, like, dude, just, if you go back and look at the old Terry Funk footage, man, like, just how he transitioned over the years from, kind of your, like, he always had that fire in him, but he was kind of more a traditional wrestler at the beginning.
But the best way to describe him, bro, he's just a wrestler's wrestler.
Yes. Well, and he's a wrestler's wrestler that you could throw him in any situation. Is this a technical match?
Yeah.
Is this a hardcore match, which is like the second stage of his reinvention, Kris, where, he became this hardcore wrestler. I think, honestly, and this might be something you and I share in common, Kris, because I knew about Terry Funk. My mom told me lots of stories about the Funks and the Von Erichs in that era. But my first real exposure to Terry Funk was when he came back in 89, I want to say. 88, 89 to WCW.
Ric Flair,
had that great feud with Ric Flair. And I think they had a match where it was Funk and Muta versus Ric Flair and Sting at Halloween Havoc, which is still one of my favorite tag team matches to this day. It's the match where Muta, like, the cage caught on fire because WCW was always up to some stupid stuff. And they're like, hey, let's electrify the cage. And the cage caught on fire, and Muta put out the fire with his miss, which was amazing. But it's like Terry Funk then went from there to being the hardcore SOB that he was in ECW. Right. And really, like, I think people forget how influential and how important Terry Funk was to giving ECW credibility. Yeah. In a way, he was kind of what Chris Jericho was to the early days of AEW. That's what Terry Funk was to ECW. He gave them that credibility, like, oh, if this dude is here, he's a star. He's been around for a minute. This company might have something going on. And then, just being Terry Funk for like the last 20, 30 years, man. Like he has somebody that has influenced so many people, given so many fans so much joy. And so like, again, like it's kind of the opposite of Wyndham, where it's like this brother had the greatest of runs.
Yeah.
Had
He
a
lived,
good,
man.
long run,
He lived,
man.
bro.
And so it's like it's still sad, Andrew, but it's a different kind of sadness. Where it's like, damn, like OG ain't here no more, but he had a good run.
He lived, bro. He lived, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
So
to
to
me,
me-
just to I'm about to say, just to add to Terry, he was supposed to be a part of Stadium Stampede 2021.
Mhm.
At AEW Double or Nothing, he was supposed to be a part of that. They had like a cameo lined up for him, but
And he would have killed it too. He would have been great.
He forgot like to check his phone or something like that. He like got back to him like 5 days later. Like 5 days later.
I can still do it,
You know what I'm
fellas.
saying? Like he probably could have still. And you know what's crazy? I might have read an interview Moxley had did with Sports Illustrated, and he was like WWE. They gave Terry like a bunch of lines for like this promo segment, and he kept like forgetting the lines and stuff like that. And then like he was just like, I guess they got it down to a point where they were just like, dude, just do what you do,
right?
And he did what he did, and it turned out being better than what they had. You know what I'm saying? So I think that just goes to show you, man, the dude was amazing.
Like my last
amazing,
thing
man.
on Terry, Andrew, like you said, like dude was just a wrestler's wrestler, lived it through and through. And Kris, to me, like both of these guys leave tremendous legacies. They leave us with great memories. And while we're sad, and the people that loved them and knew them best are certainly sad, I think you hold on to those memories. You hold on to what they achieved in the time they were here, because none of us know how much time we're given on this earth. And so you got to make the most out of it. And I think Wyndham and Terry both did that, Kris.
Yeah, I do too. And with Wyndham, it's just one of those situations where I just always think, like, because he was so young, like, what could he have done differently to not that have happened? Because that's where your mind goes. And I'm not like, I don't want to speculate on anything, but I'm just saying, like, it's so young, and in a death like Barry Windham, or not Barry Windham Rotunda's, it leaves you with more questions than it does answers. And that's what's sad about a death like that, because he was a one-of-a-kind guy. We never blamed him for the silliness that he was involved in with WWE. We always knew that it was the company that just wasn't seeing anything in him. Wyndham Rotunda was a guy who was a little bit more husky, but you could totally believe him with someone like JoJo Offerman. It was just because he had that kind of swag about him. You know, it wasn't like
it was cool.
Yeah, it was not some kind of out there concept. So that's what I got to say about Wyndham. As far as Terry Funk, I knew towards the end that he was kind of like ready to leave this earth. He lost his wife, who probably had his back more than anybody else on this planet. Terry Funk, a lot isn't said. He had a good Hollywood career. He was in Roadhouse. He was on a drama, a Western called Wild Side, that starred the late great Henry Rollins or Howard Rollins. Howard Rollins,
yeah.
Howard Rollins from In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah.
He was on that show. The reason, and that show was a good, critically acclaimed show. The reason why that show didn't last, because it was the 80s and ABC put it up against the Cosby Show, and nobody was beating the Cosby Show in the ratings in the 80s. But it was
the Roman Reigns of TV in the 80s.
Yeah. It's just nobody was beating that.
Ain't nobody finishing no stories when Cosby was around.
Right.
The Cosby Show, I want to clarify.
Yeah, the show, yeah.
And then, Jesus Christ.
I caught myself in the midst of that, Andrew. I had to clarify.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah. But Sorry, no, it's all good. But the show was a decent show, and he was one of the earlier pioneers of that era. Contrary to what Hogan put in his book, Sylvester Stallone at the Hall of Fame in 2005, I believe, when he was inducting Hogan, he met Hulk Hogan through Terry Funk, you know, and that's what began the illustrious Hollywood career of one Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Such awesome movies like No Holds Barred and Mr. Nanny and Santa with Muscles and Three Ninjas at Six Flags or whatever.
Kris, he was cooking.
Yeah. But Terry Funk, man, and just the East and Jerry Lawler said this online, and I never really thought of Terry Funk in this light, but after he said this, I started thinking about it more. And Jerry Lawler said Terry Funk is a top 10 all-time wrestling great. And when you really sit back and think about it, you do have
he is.
Yeah, you have to put him in at least the conversation. You know, it's like maybe he's not in your top 10, but he's up there, man. He's done everything in wrestling. I remember that WWE tag team he had with Too Cold Scorpio briefly. I thought that was had promise for a second, and Too Cold Scorpio got fired. He tells you why he got fired in one of those shoot interviews. I'm not gonna repeat it on the show, but yeah, and Terry Funk just like fit in perfectly with any era. It is sad that we didn't get any, like even that one AEW clip with him, because then you could say, oh, this dude was everywhere, man. But he definitely is somebody that I looked up to as a kid. I've met him a couple times. I think we interviewed him on the best Mike Knox's old show. He came around, funny guy, answered all the questions. He was just such a great guy, man. And I'm sad that he's gone. But again, his story, I think he was towards the end.
His story was complete.
He was ready to go. He went on Facebook, or he made a video where he's like, yo, if y'all see me out in public, leave me alone, or something like that. And I think he was just kind of like, ready to be with his wife. And I do believe in, and I know I've talked my mess about televangelists and stuff like that, but I do believe in an afterlife and and being reunited with loved ones when you leave this earth.
The physical,
I don't believe in seed preachers and crap like that, and like faith healers, but all that. So who
they said they said thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to comment. Appreciate you all. Stay with that. That's the guy who said he was what he say he was. Said he was. He said he was
a hillbilly, but yes, we
hillbilly.
We love everybody up in here, man. Everybody except for Terry Bollea.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming out, brother.
Appreciate it.
It's good to pay homage to the good Terry, to the good Terry.
The good Terry.
The only Terry we recognize on this show.
You know, just on Wyndham, man. It's I think it's coming up October 8th when he returned last year at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. He had that great return, that whole thing with the Firefly Funhouse, and had the big pop, massive reaction coming off the what would they call it? It was the White Rabbit. That's what they called it, the White Rabbit. The White Rabbit, when they were doing that whole thing with him, man. So yeah, dude, I've always enjoyed the different characters that he's presented on WWE TV and the things that he's been able to, these concepts that he's had that he's been able to bring to life. I think that's a very special ability. Dude had like so much like fucking creativity, like in his fucking pinky, and like you know what I'm saying, that most people can like conjure up, throughout years of trying to think of different ideas, and that stuff like that seemed like it just came so natural to him, for him to be able to just present these things and try these different concepts. Some of these concepts are so out of the box, but he would find a way to make it work within even with the creative pushback and some of the things that he dealt with in the company, as far as like, maybe they have a different idea of way things. And like, I'll always give him credit for the way that he was able to reinvent, because that shit is not easy, bro. Like, it is not easy as a wrestler to reinvent yourself and to become something that people give a shit about. Anybody can say, hey, I'm a different guy now. But for you to time and time again come back and to get that same amount of investment each time, whether people hang on to it or not, but the fact that they like, oh shit, let me get this another shot. The fact that you even have the ability to get people to believe like that, that's a testament to him as a wrestler, testament to him as a creative. But again, all that shit aside, fuck the wrestling shit. Like, it's sad that he has young children, a significant other, and family, brothers, and I mean that's everybody. But I'm like specifically speaking about him leaving around behind young children, man. That's rough. And then again, at the age of 36 years old, bro, like that's like prime years. You know what I'm saying? When you in the thick of your in this specific case, your manhood or whatever like that, and you transitioning into, you know what I'm saying, whatever else got going on, and family and kids, and take care of yourself and all that good stuff. So
getting ready for that next stage of your life.
Getting ready for that next stage of your life. That's the best way to put it. So it's unfortunate that he's no longer here. And again, like Nate, I think you hit the nail on the head as far as the point goes. Terry Funk, he lived, man. He lived a great, adventurous, very, very adventurous life, and Wyndham did as well. But his got cut short. You know what I'm saying? At the age of 36, and that's rough, and especially when you consider the fact that he leaving so many individuals behind. So this is one last thing. Yeah, bless.
And shout out to WWE for paying proper homage to both of them. I was afraid they wouldn't, but they did a good job. So we don't bash WWE on this show when they do good. So when they do good, we recognize it.
That's it. Yeah. That's the show. That's the NWA podcast.
Yep. So again, real quick, we getting ready to go around the room and let everybody get they props and plugs in. But again, RIP to both Wyndham Rotunda and Terry Funk. Y'all will never be forgotten. But I got one last thing, Andrew. It wasn't on the rundown. I'm Vince Russo. Hold on. I was looking for a piece of paper so I could throw the script out. I want to talk about one last person, grand opening, grand closing. People leave the company. People come back to the company. I want to talk about one thing before we go. Since we already in the overrun, last Monday, Kris, last Monday, Andrew, I was having a rough day at work, man. I've been feeling like Jimmy Butler in the bubble. I've been feeling like Orange Cassidy talking to Renee Paquette. I've been tired, Andrew. Came home from work. It's about 7:30. I'm like, you know what? Make some dinner. Turn on the TV. Watch a little Monday Night Football pregame. Let's see what's going on Raw. Okay, ain't nothing really popping on Raw. Oh, Cody showed up in Norfolk for like 2 minutes. That's cool. Let me go back to Monday Night Football. I switch back over to Raw.
Not like most.
Let me tell you, Kris, because we talked a lot in these last 5 minutes about a higher power or God, or is there somebody looking out for you? And I think, whether you want to attribute it to God or a higher power or the universe, somebody was looking out for Nate that night, Andrew, because I'm watching, the end of Monday Night Raw, Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Is she Rodriguez or Gonzalez? I can't remember which one she is now.
Rodriguez.
Raquel Rodriguez. Let's go with the alliteration. And I'm just watching like, okay, this is a pretty good match. It's a decent match. And then lo and behold, as tired as I was, as worn down as I was, nephew, it was like the skies opened up and a ray of sunshine came into my life as Nia Jax is back, ladies and gentlemen. She not like most girls, Andrew. She not like most girls, Kris. I was so happy to see Nia back on my TV screen. I don't care what the critics say, Andrew. They say she's unsafe. They say she can't wrestle. They say she hurts people. You know what? I'm here for that. They say she's an anti-vaxxer. It's okay. I've had 2 booster shots, Andrew. I'm here. I'm ready for the Nia Jax era to begin. TKO, let's get it.
Anything to add, Kris?
The less I say about Nia Jax, the better this show will be. So
I'm just saying, Kris. Like it's just like, man, I was so happy to see her nephew.
She's a definitely gonna be a prominent figure in the women's division. Definitely going forward. She's definitely gonna be utilizing that. I wouldn't be surprised if she's in a title match at Fastlane. Like genuinely would not be surprised. The thing about
Jade is gonna need someone to beat when she gets to WWE.
The thing about I'm here for Nia versus Jade. I'm here for it, Kris.
I think you always need people that can like really base really well and stuff like that. And in those certain situations when you're working with you got that sort of height and size advantage between wrestlers and other wrestlers. It's always good to have wrestlers who can do good bases and stuff like that. So I mean, we gonna see how Nia's what's the second run in WWE turns out. We're gonna see how this thing thing go. We'll see how it go. I mean, you never know how it might turn out. You never know. It might be something. It might surprise somebody. It might.
All I know is I'm waiting for that shot, that moment where Jade Cargill slams Nia Jax. She picks up and slams
that's
it
happening.
down.
That's happening.
The only problem with that spot, though, Kris. The only problem with that nephew.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like that's the spot we all need is Jade slamming Nia. But as I said it, I thought about it. The problem is if you pick Nia Jax up and throw her in the air, she just gonna turn into sunshine. Go watch Harlem Nights.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if she threw Nia out in the 2024 Royal Rumble. Would not be surprised.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if she threw her out in the Royal Rumble. But also about to get thrown out is my device because my battery about to die. So let's go ahead.
Let's wrap it up.
Send us home, brother Nate.
Let's leave on a positive note, Kris. Thinking about Nia Jax back in the building. Kris, what do you have to let the people know about? Where can they find you on social media? Anything you got coming up with our light-skinned cousin Brandon over at WrestleNomics, man?
Not imminently, but I'm thinking of some stuff, and I'll bounce some ideas off of Brandon. I am right now. I'm just mainly focused on my work outside of this place and all that. And also next month, remind me out there, we do have to talk about this PWI 500, the top 10 portion of it, and the lack of brothers on it. So that's a cliffhanger for next month.
Do y'all care about that shit for real?
No, I don't care. So here's the thing with that. I don't care about it as the totality. I don't give a fuck about these bitch ass lists. They don't matter. But it does show the state of the wrestling business when there's no blacks in the top 10. Because we've had
Devontae.
Yeah. We've had blacks in the top 10 for the last few years, and now we have zero.
They said another.
We count Roman Reigns. I kind of count Roman, kind of. Just not all the way.
So like if we take 25% of Roman and 25% of Cody, we got half a brother.
Yeah.
We got 25.2%.
Yeah.
Cody only getting a 0.2.
Cody getting 0.2. Cody part Cuban too.
Yeah, he is. People forget about that.
So I give him a full 30%.
You been hella generous with that 30. You been hella generous.
30 doing a lot of work.
Yeah, he is he's a white Cuban
doing a lot of
work. So. Yeah.
Me no black. You know, but I always think about that Godfrey that video that he did. But
yes,
I mean, hey, look, if you know, you know. I ain't about to get into that video, but if you seen that video, you know what I'm talking about. That man is hilarious, bro. But yeah, the PWI 500. I mean, bro, what looks like that, like, and again, I don't want to make it seem like that the people who put those together don't do hard work because they definitely do. Like I was talking about just from my perspective, but I just like I see that and I just be like, I don't know why people get so like riled up about it because I'm like, I just don't like. For me, bro, I always look at things with people. You ever see how people always be like, oh, I don't care about something, and all they do is fucking talk about it. Mm-hmm. Like I don't understand. Like, bro, if I don't care about something, bro, the shit does not exist in my world. Yeah, bro. It doesn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I really don't care, it's like, but
it's more of an indictment on the wrestling business than it is PWI because honestly, I don't know what blacks I would have put in the top 10.
Yeah.
I don't. And that's more of a knock on AEW and WWE than it is on PWI, because I wouldn't have put Lashley in the top 10 because he wasn't even on WrestleMania.
Say, bro, and then the list is kayfabe, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they put Seth. If they put Seth Rollins the number one wrestler on the planet just by the metrics that they say they care about, Roman Reigns is just number one for life, for at least the time being.
What wasn't Tyrus top 50?
What's that? Who was top 50?
Tyrus.
I said what? Tyrus.
Was he in the top 50? I don't know.
Yeah,
oh, dang. Okay.
But
Top
to your
50,
point
top
though,
60,
Andrew, and to Chris's point earlier when he was talking about The Miz back in 2011, part of the list in itself is we want to get people talking.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get people arguing. We want to get people riled up. And so, I do think it's a glaring omission not to have any brothers outside of that 30% in the top 10. But I see that more as maybe as Kris said, an industry issue than a PWI issue.
Yeah, I see that. I definitely see it as an industry issue. And because you can't take the list because again, any list that puts fucking Miz at number one is
let it go, Kris. You gotta let it's been 13 years, Kris. You gotta let it go, brother.
Yeah, it's that's a credibility issue automatically. But like Nate said, it's just more to kind of get us talking, and saying, is what it is. But I guess that's a month for us. So
yes, and as Kris said, you can find him over on Twitter at KMEasyDoesIt. Nephew, I know you done had a busy couple of weeks. Where can the people find you, and what else you got going on? Shout out Andrew Thompson interviews on these streets.
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter at AD_Thompson __. Same thing on Instagram. The underscore, we on the X platform now on Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Well, one of those. You find me AD_Thompson __. Check out the interviews, Andrew Thompson interviews, and my written work over at the Post Wrestling site. And I put up some on my Instagram. I got like a highlight thing of my trip to London. So go check that out. And that's all I got.
That man, the nephew going worldwide, Mr. Worldwide, Andrew Thompson.
Worldwide. I was about to do this. What's the thing Titus O'Neil do?
That's what
the Omega side.
Omegas, yep.
Oh shit! Let me stop for them.
Yeah, look, you close to Howard and Hampton University and Norfolk State. You don't want that.
Yeah,
Morgan State. You around too many HBCUs to just be throwing up the Q dog symbol all willy nilly, Andrew.
Yeah, one of my I think my dad's brothers he a Q, and I be like messing with him sometimes, like doing the little shit that they be doing. He be like niggas be walking around like flicking their tongues and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? I always be messing with him about that. He be mad as shit when I be doing that, but it's funny. I like doing that. I like messing with him about that shit.
I say I got uncles that have been in fraternities and aunts that have been in sororities, but the only Greek I've ever been a part of, Kris, is Broke Fi Broke.
Oh yeah.
We ain't got it.
I'm still here.
We hear you.
Broke Fi Broke. We ain't got it. As for me, as we got the disembodied voice of the nephew in the building, you can find me on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK. Did I just kick the nephew out the chat? I super kicked him through the barbershop window.
I don't hear him, so maybe.
I'm still here.
There we go. Now nephew's back. He's still here. He Antoine Fisher. He's still here. He's still standing, still strong. But for me, you can check me out on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK. Check out the latest edition of the Kings of Sport podcast. Kris and I dropped that on the people last night, live episode. As myself, Kris, and 30-Day Ray, as Andrew calls him. We talked about the first week of the NFL season. We gave our predictions for the rest of the season, including some really interesting shilling, I would say, on Kris's part to one owner of a certain professional football team that happens to also be an owner in the professional wrestling business. But you got to listen to the episode to hear all that. And we also talked about Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and what he has meant to college football. And we gave our preview of that big game last night against Colorado State. So check that out. We also have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Kings of Sport is where you can find all of our exclusive content. We have over 200 hours of audio, video, talking sports, politics, pop culture, pro wrestling. We got a Hamilton review on there. We've got MCU reviews up on there. If you're a longtime listener of Post Wrestling / Live Audio Wrestling, you know about Keep It 100, the show me and Brian Mann did back in the day that was ahead of its time. The full archives of that show are up on the Patreon. So check out the Patreon. $5 gets you in the door. The more y'all support the Patreon, the more freedom Kris and me and Andrew and all the affiliated members of the Kings of Sport Nation have to bring y'all more content, because we all can't be like Phil Brooks and get fired from one job and already have another one lined up. So help us help you with this content. Been doing it for 10 years. We're in our 10th year anniversary celebration. So check that out over at the Kings of Sport Patreon. Subscribe to the YouTube page too, since you're here on YouTube. Anyway, go over to Kospod, KOSPOD on Twitter or on YouTube, and subscribe to that while you're here. I want to give a shout out to John Pollock and Wei Ting, the proprietors of Post Wrestling, who graciously provide us the platform to do this each and every month. We want to shout out Righteous Reg, our good brother, for the theme song that you heard coming into the show about 3 hours ago, and that you're going to hear in about 3 minutes, maybe even less than that, on the way out. Shout out to Righteous Reg for that theme song. And, in the words of Jay-Z, and most importantly, you, the customer. Shout out to everybody that watched us tonight, everybody that's listening to us in the future or watching us in the future. We appreciate y'all, man. We here to have these good conversations, and we're going to do it again for you in October. Spooky season is on the horizon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So much to talk about. So another great episode of the NWA Podcast, man. We had fun. Hope y'all had fun with us. And we'll do it again next month. So for the Professor Kris Ealy, for the youngest in charge, the nephew Andrew Thompson, I am the Godfather Nate Milton. And remember, the revolution may not be televised, but it damn sure will be podcasted. See y'all in October.
Yo, it's Righteous Reg. It's a case for the safe, keep a space for the Nubians. Unfiltered, off kilter, the professor, the Godfather. Post wrestling, the NWA, not keep guessing, The views and expressions, you know the rest, it's pod excellence, get the message. Advocates for Nubian wrestling, you're listening to the best again. Black wrestling in the ring we invested in. Nubian kings and queens we invested in. It's for the culture and we reppin' it. It's for the culture and we reppin' it.